nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. We're taking it back under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States. I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is?
He said he is invoking the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. Trump said he is invoking the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. That means he is going to, and this is something that the Democrats kind of warned us about. They said Trump does not mean good for his people, so on and so forth. This was definitely something that they warned us about. They told us what Trump was doing. We didn't listen, right? We wanted to go with the whole Make America Great Again theme. We wanted to believe that he was actually caring about Americans, so on and so forth. And now, the same thing that he did to immigrants and so on and so forth, he's about to do that in D.C. He's about to do that in D.C. to where as though he is invoking an act to push out homeless people and bring in National Guards for arrest, for the crime rate, so on and so forth. So this is a tactic. This is a tactic. The only thing outside of this is martial law. It's the only thing outside of this is damn near martial law. But let's listen again to what he said. And we're going to listen to the whole thing. It's a minute. It's a minute and 25 seconds. So we're going to listen to the whole thing, and then we're going to discuss.
I've been up here a lot. I've never seen a crowd like this. I think we need a ballroom, and that's happening. It's going to be a beautiful ballroom. This is really a lot of people, most I've ever seen in this room.
Did he just say he's throwing a Diddy party?
And we're here for a very serious purpose, Something's out of control, but we're going to put it in control very quickly like we did on the southern border. I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. We're taking it back under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States. I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is? And placing the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control, and you'll be meeting the people that will be directly involved with that. Very good people, but they're tough, and they know what's happening. They've done it.
Trump is saying that he is going to clean up the Capitol. He says he's going to clean up the Capitol. He says he's invoking the, District of Columbia Act. This is an act to protect the Capitol, so on and so forth. Now, mind you, even though the seats might be split, they are, Democrats are strongly, are all united in this, trying to stop a lot of the stuff that he's trying to get passed, the bills that he's trying to get passed. Trump is pushing the Mario button, if you would say. So everything that he had planned, he's putting in action, trying to put it all in action within the next 2 years. So he's trying to systematically destroy our democracy, if you would say, right? So by doing what he's doing, it creates a rift. A lot of people don't see it as that because, they're in that concept of like, oh, make America great again concept, right? They don't see the manipulation. A lot of people don't see the manipulation. They're blinded by it, A lot of stuff that's happening right now, a lot of people are not in tune with it. Hold on, let me do something on TikTok real quick. I might have to change accounts for a week on TikTok because I'm not getting pushed in the For You recommendation page on the one page. Let me switch out. Log out real quick. Now I got another page I can log into. Let me log into this one. This one will do better on the topic. Okay, so that account, they're trying to, let's see, go live 3 more times. Yeah, so Trump is changing up everything. If you ask me, he's definitely, pulling the old switcheroony on us. If you are not paying attention to it, you might want to open your eyes to this. It's happening right before our very eyes. Some people are trying to act blind to it. Some people acting like they don't see it. So on and so forth. That's just the way it is. But he listen, to lock down the Capitol, homelessness. Listen, homelessness is a problem, and it doesn't have nothing to do with people. You know what I mean? Homelessness is a problem, but it doesn't have nothing to do with people. You know? I don't see how this is popping up like this. This is not showing. See? All right.
I'm putting up here a lot. I've never seen a crowd like this.
We gotta go
I
live
think
a
we need
couple
a
of
ballroom.
times.
And that's happening. It's going to be a beautiful ballroom. This is really a lot of people, most I've ever seen in this room. And we're here for a very serious purpose, Something's out of control, but we're going to put it in
So
control
yeah,
very
like
quickly,
when you're
like we
looking
did
at
on the
this
southern
situation,
border.
you gotta
I'm
think.
announcing a historic action to.
He said this is gonna be. He said this is gonna be just like the borders. Like how? How are you saying that? How are you making this the you know the direction of everything? Like so you going to lock down the Capitol like you did the borders? You putting a wall around the Capitol? Like this is dangerous. What he's saying is basically the same thing that he did to you know the immigrants is the same thing that he's about to do to the American people. This is what, you know, Putin warned us about. This is what the Democrats warned us about, right? What's going on with you, Powwow? What up? They all warned us about this. And now that we're, you know, stuck in the middle of this, we seem to like, I don't know, we seem to not understand it. Maybe we don't want to. Maybe we don't want to understand what's going on right now. It's easier for us to act blind. It's easier for us to act, you know, ignorant towards it, whatever the case may be. I guess that's easier than actually looking at this and saying, you know, something is amiss, something is not right. This is a setup for something a lot bigger, right? A lot of people don't want to look at it and say that, like, wait, this is not, this doesn't sound right, right? Locking down the Capitol, you know, that just doesn't sound right, right? But we won't look at it like that. Oh, okay, I see the image. So yeah, Trump is not trying to analyze it like that. The way he's looking at it, it's like he's basically, you know, uh, in Discord you can, and you could do it in Discord, but I don't know about this whole, you know, YouTube thing. I mean, the you know people on YouTube seem to come with hidden agendas, and you know, with me and everything in my real physical life, like I don't want to get caught up in that bullshit where people keep on trying to intervene in my physical life to try to paint me out to be this and paint me out to be that. Like, I really help people in the physical world with little to no resources. You know, the very little bit of help that I get is very much appreciated and very much needed, you know, for me to continue helping people. But I don't need to keep, you know, running into people that's trying to tear down what I'm doing. I don't need to keep running into people that's trying to play on what I'm doing, using me for different variations of things, playing in my face, gaslighting, all of that stuff. Like, I'm good on that. I get it that the internet is undefeated and this become the way of the world, but in a sense of things, I just can't keep, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Um, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's all I could do. I could just continue moving forward, you know, with peace, prosperity, positivity, you know, and a good perspective of life. That's it. That's all I could do. Keep moving forward in them measures, you know, and hope that the universe will acknowledge everything that I'm doing. You know, I would like people to recognize me, but I'm not here to please people. So I don't care if people recognize my works. I don't care if people recognize me for my actions or anything like that, you know? Oh, I gotta put this appeal in. The way I see it, everything's gonna work itself out.
In a crowd like this, I think we need a ballroom, and that's happening. It's going to be a beautiful ballroom. This is really a lot of people, most I've ever seen in this room. And we're here for a very serious purpose, very serious purpose. Something's out of control, but we're going to put it in control very quickly, like we did on the southern border. I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. This is Liberation
you're right
Day
about
in
that.
DC,
We're in the
and
time of the gathering for
We're
sure.
going to take our capital back. We're taking it back under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States. I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is? And placing the DC Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control, and you'll be meeting the people that will be directly involved with that.
They said that they are placing the DC metropolitan area under the direct control, right? He bringing in National Guards and every stuff, right? This is dangerous. This is dangerous. I mean, people might not see the danger in this. People might not even want to acknowledge, you know, the danger in this. But this is dangerous. Come on, people. Come on, y'all gotta see that this is not going to help the nation. This is not about to improve the nation. You know, cities everywhere are covered in poverty. You know, cities all over the place is going through it. So, you know, when you got somebody that comes with this, you know, measurement, it's like, yo, what are you doing? You know? It's almost like, yo, like, what's going on? Because this right here is basically saying, like, American people is we don't have no why not appeal my approve? Approve my appeal, I mean. I not like what he said, and I took it. Well, Hummingbird, you can put it that way and make it seem like, you know, Americans feel like, you know, stay out of the business, whatever the case may be. But I'm speaking about it now, and I'm in America, and, you know, I'm looking at this as, you know, the same way. Like, you got to think about this, you know, homelessness is everywhere. You know, people are living out on the streets, you know, everywhere. So when you're looking at this situation and you're like, okay, let's explore it, right? This situation right here is dangerous, detrimental, because this is saying, like, everybody else is peons, peasants, something to just use as pawns. You know what I mean? The same people who you kicking out, the same people who you attacking, the same people who you are pushing out of the Capitol is the same people that protects this Capitol, right? A lot of the homelessness that's going on, it's not because of the people, it's because of housing, right? Then it's the mental health issues, right? A lot of our veterans that came back from overseas, different places like that, they don't have places because they think that they can do things on their own, and they not recognizing their mental disabilities, whatever you want to call it, traumas, PTSDs, all of this stuff. So it's hard in America, period. But with you taking over the Capitol, pushing everybody out, it's going to create more of a rift than it is. This is not going to create peace, if that's what I'm, if it looks at any way. This is not a way to create peace. We're not getting a peaceful solution out of this, if that makes sense. You know? This is going to create a bigger mess. And look, Powwow, you're right. We are in a time of, chosen, trying to gather with chosen ones and so on and so forth. But at the same time that we are in the midst of gathering, there are those that are in the midst of putting false images on us in order to paint a false narrative for, for that, so people won't gather to us, right? So that's why this whole thing never been about me. This whole thing been about the collective. This whole thing been about people that, support me. This ain't never been about me. This is Operation Tear Down the support that he's getting. This ain't nothing about me. Because think about it. I was doing me before I came over to YouTube. I was doing me. Over on TikTok, I was doing me, right? So this is something that's, this whole image breaking, this whole, whatever, this is a social media experiment. That's what this is. Social media experiment. Exactly. That's what they do. They try to tear you down and steal your likeness and image at the same time. So they try to make you feel like you're not connected to conscious, you're not getting this knowledge from the universe, and then they steal your image and try to be of peace, try to act like they're of the oneness that's coming in from the unit. Yes, that's what people do, right? They play on other people. That's why I say, like, this world is very tricky when it comes down to it. You got to have discernment. There's a lot of people who just try to tear down the image of chosen people. So therefore, and they'll play in our face. They'll play in our face. They'll be right there playing in our face, tearing down our image and our knowledge and our wisdom, but then also trying to make it seem like they're of knowledge and wisdom. This world is very messed up, you know what I mean? The way people manipulate in this world, the way people play in this world, they mad because I don't subscribe to it. That's what they really mad about, because I don't subscribe to it. I don't subscribe to the bullshit. I don't subscribe to the fuckery. I oversee it. You know, with a heavy understanding, I oversee a lot of stuff in this world, and a lot of people don't like that I oversee it. So they try to put me back in a understanding because they don't like an understanding, or they lack an understanding. But this whole thing with Trump, this is a play on something bigger. This is a play on something bigger. You know, espionage, whatever you want to call it, because you're locking down the Capitol, you're pushing people out of the Capitol, you're using National Guards against its own people, right? So the same people that you swore in to protect is the same people that you're about to attack, or not attack, but, you know, defend against, supposedly. Why? Why are you pushing homeless people out and criminal? Like, okay, criminals, I get it. We need every state needs to be lowered on crime, right? But you pushing homeless people out, right? Why? Because right now there's a lot of things going on inside the vessels of mankind. A lot of these elites, they know about what's going on inside the vessels of mankind. This is why they put out that movie called Weapons. One's in the chat if you know what movie I'm talking about. Weapons. The movie where it's like people seem to be the weapon. And then think about nanobite technology. Okay? What if they found a way to commandeer our vessels? Return of the body snatchers. Are we really thinking about what's going on in this world? If you're really looking at this and you're watching different scenarios in this world, from the McDonald's incident, so on and so forth, does it not seem weird? Go back to the movie that they came out with, Soylent Green. Go back to Jamie Foxx coming out with this movie where they say they put it in the chicken or the food. Go back to the Popeyes incident where the dude poked somebody up for a Popeyes chicken sandwich, right? I don't think we're really looking at this world or analyzing this world properly. I don't think we're really seeing the measurements of the dangers in this world, the woes, oh, you know, we're distracted by work, kids, household, cars, bills, all this other stuff. But the people who not worried about that stuff, what do you think they play on? What do you think their thrills are? Right? People talk about the Hunger Games. People talking about, you know, hunting games, right? And you don't think this type of stuff exists. But what if it does? What if this type of stuff does exist? What if people that bills are paid, ain't got shit to worry about, what if they seek a thrill in putting other people in different variations of needs, wants, feelings, and emotions? One's in the chat if you understand what I'm saying. One's in the chat if you understand what I'm saying. And for the people that's on TikTok coming into the page, please tap the screen and share the live. Let's have this convo. Let's talk about it. Let's really talk about it. And make sure you copy the link that's in the Discord and join the Discord. Just put it in your browser. Y'all tap the screen, share the live. I see y'all coming in, but I don't see nobody hitting the follow button, so I don't know who's friend and who's foe. You know, I know a lot of people come in for the knowledge, a lot of people come in for talking points, a lot of people come in just because the numbers, right? But I want the people that's actually want to engage in the conversation, actually knows how to coerce, keep on topic. The topic is going to change. Yes, it is, right? But, you know, however you want to look at it, I appreciate the follow. I see you. I see you. All right. I'm telling you, things are happening all around us. But the only question is do you dare to open your eyes to see it? Do you dare open your eyes to see it? Or do you act blinded to everything in this world? A lot of people prefer to act blinded. You know, A lot of people would prefer to act blinded in this world, act as if they don't see the things that are happening in this world, the different variations of things that are taking place in this world. They want to act like they don't see it. And then you got the people that's playing the game. Oh, the people that's playing the game, they're very good. They sit there and have plausible deniability. They sit there and make other people do the work for them. They sit there and make it seem like they're not doing this and they're not doing that. Oh, I didn't say it. This person said it. Yes, but who did they get it from? I didn't tell them to bring it back to you. Listen, you're the source of the problem. You are the. So however you want to look at this, there's a lot of truths that's about to be revealed to us under this Aquarius sky. Some of them you're not going to like. Listen, you're not going to like every truth that's about to be revealed to us. Let's be honest about that. Okay? And if you tap the screen, come up in the box, something like that, you know what I'm saying? Look, what's going on with y'all? Hey, listen, YouTube and TikTok, because we on 2 platforms right now. YouTube and TikTok, look, stranger things is happening, man. If you a good person, if you having different, even if you're not a good person, but your mind is changing and you're trying to be better, you better get around a collective that's trying to be better. If your mind is changing and you trying to be better, if you realize that you put yourself around low vibrational people and you trying to be better, you better start putting yourself around different people. You better start putting yourself around like-minded people. You better start putting yourself around people that gravitate to the same vibration that you gravitate to, because if not, shit gonna get shaky. Shit gonna get shaky. You're gonna keep wondering why the people around you is trying to keep you in the ideal state of mind or state of being that they want you to be in. You're gonna start trying to figure out, like, what the freak is going on? Why are they putting me, in this mindset? Why are they? Because they want to keep you in that mindset. That's the job. The job is to keep you in the ideal image that they're comfortable with. They ain't comfortable with you trying to be a good person. Why would somebody be comfortable with you trying to be a good person? Then they got to look at themselves and try to figure out why they don't want to be a good person. See, when you try to do better, other people don't look at you and as an individual, they look at themselves and be like, who they think they is to try to be better. They don't look at your example and be like, man, I should try to be better too. Nah. They be looking at you like, I got to tear you down a peg or two on some color purple shit. You know what I mean? That's how they look at it. It's been trained in their mind. They call it iron sharpening iron, tearing us down, tearing each other down. They say it's iron sharpening iron. It's not. Look, our numbers is dropping, guys. That means y'all didn't share the live or y'all didn't put no activity in the comment section. So I need the last 20 people in here, you got to share the live. You got to push it into the algorithm. You see the numbers dropping. We going from 100 to 15. Come on. All right. I mean, it's going to get another spike of people going to come in here, but y'all got to tap the screen in order for that spike to come in. That's for the people on TikTok. You have to tap the screen or engage with the screen in some sort of way in order for it to keep us in the algorithm. I ain't trying to ask you to, donate or nothing like that, but these are the different ways that you push people into the algorithm. Tap the screen, so on and so forth. What are you talking about today? Today, we are talking about Trump locking down DC, invoking, what he called laws, whereas though he's bringing in the National Guard, he's commandeering the Metropolitan Police area. They are now under federal operation. Therefore, martial law will probably go into effect in the DC area. Curfews will be put in effect in the DC area. These are the steps that are going to be took when you are dealing with homelessness, because you want to make sure that nobody's out on the street. So anybody that's out on the street past a certain time is considered to be of the homelessness and are going to get pushed out of the area, if that makes sense. Okay, so a fight against crime is not a fight against people that can't afford housing. That's two different fights. You're not listening to what he's saying. I'm gonna play it for you.
People, most I've ever seen in this room. And we're here for a very serious purpose, Something's out of control, but we're going to put it in control very quickly, like we did on the southern border. I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. This is Liberation Day in DC, and we're going to take our capital back. We're taking it back. Under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States, I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is?
District of Columbia
and placing the DC
Home
Metropolitan
Rule
Police
Act.
Department under direct federal control, and you'll be meeting the people that will be directly involved with that. Very good people, but they're tough, and they know what's happening, and they've done it before.
Now listen.
In addition, I'm deploying the National Guard to help reestablish law, order, and public safety in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be allowed to do their job properly.
See? Listen to what he's saying. Listen to the words that he's using. Listen to what he's saying. I'm invoking this under my authority, right? By the power invested in me, right? You listening to the words that he's saying, right? And he's saying they're going to be allowed to do their job, right? He's bringing in the National Guard, so on and so forth. So when you're looking at a situation of this magnitude, right, he's already telling you exactly what he's going to do. And they come in, they're going to say, okay, these are the three major steps that they're going to look at, right? How do you identify the homeless, right? So you would have to make sure that a curfew is put in place, right? So you have the right to stop anybody that's out past that curfew, right? Question anybody that is out past that curfew, right? Because that's one step that you would have to take, is how can you approach them? Because a lot of people have rights, right? So in order to violate those rights, a law would have to be placed in there to violate those rights. So now this is that, stop and frisk, all of these different things, right? Now, if you're out past a certain time, we have the right to find out about your whereabouts, so on and so forth, right? Now you got to push them out. So you got to put the curfew in effect, right? You got crime that's at an all-time high also. So that's another reason to put the curfew in effect, right? So the two things that you want to get rid of is homelessness and crime, right? So by putting the curfew in effect, right, you're doing this. Why is DC so bad? Probably because it's always been like that within the DMV area, right? When you're looking at Baltimore being right there, when you're looking at, Prince George County being right there, when you're looking at Virginia being right there, Virginia is a Commonwealth state. So a lot of people in Virginia might come over to the DC area to do bullshit because, if they get caught in their state, the time is different, right? You're going to get damn near life for pills or whatever, you know what I mean? So it's different, right? When you're looking at that area, that's why it's called the DMV area. You got Baltimore right there, and you got Virginia right there. People, running back and forth between the Commonwealth and that. Plus, you looking at DC, and, the reason why it seems so high, they don't have no state prisons. DC has no state prisons. Every prison there is a federal prison. So even when they have, state problems, it goes to federal. Everybody that get locked up in DC, they go feds, right? They got to go to a federal holding facility, whatever the case may be, because they really don't have no state facilities, right? Um, this is the, however you look at this, and it's, you can say that this is a take, like, if you wanted to do anything, then you have to, provide housing for these people. Why not, go invest in a project building in an area and put the homeless people in that project building and say, look, you're scheduled to maintain this. There will be drug testing, so on and so on, in order to make sure that you're maintaining the proper standards of society, so on and so forth, right? There's different ways that we can approach homelessness, with all of the abandoned buildings, with all of the projects getting shut down, with all of these factories, make America great again type idea. Why not put them back to work? Why not, open up, apartment complexes for them next to the factories, and then you have the employment of the factory right there with the homelessness, with the homeless people. All you do is give them an incentive, tell them that they are required to take care of this area, they're required to not have people come through, they're required to not use, so on and so forth. And then you open up the factory that's close by, and now you got two, apartment buildings with people that's ready to work, right? So there's multiple ways that we can approach this so-called homelessness situation, right? I don't think this whole defense lockdown thing, like, okay, everything does not have to be a wall. Everything is not solved with a wall. If that's the case, we about to go back into an idea of division that you never seen before. I mean, how much farther before you see whites only and colored water fountains again, right? Because this shit is strange. This shit is strange. We're in the land of the free, the home of the brave, right? But this whole concept of fear, fear, fear that's being placed on the American people is detrimental within itself, right? There's a lot of different ways that we can approach the problems that's taking place in the United States. One way that we can approach it, how Uber has its service? Why can't we provide a service like that for the working world? The unemployment can fill in for the employed, right? Basically, what you do is you create a fill-in.com company, right? Where you got, let's say, something universal, like customer service representative, right? There's a lot of companies that have customer service representatives, right? Just like there's a lot of fast food companies that have fast food, as a way to work, right? So if you link these together, customer service representative, and you say Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart, all of these companies sign up for this, right? Now their employees can go onto this site, find somebody to fill in for them. They still get paid by the company. The other company pays the people that filled in, right? The unemployment rate changes from that, right? And it gives more people jobs. It gives more people free time with their family, because all you have to do is sign up for a package, let's say 3 to 5 days of the month, right? Pay $19.99 a month or whatever, and then you got people that fills in for you at your job whenever something comes up abruptly or whatever. You still get paid by your company. The company that filled in for you pays out the person that worked for you. The revenue comes in through the traction and online services. You can do training classes online, VI, Skype, so on and so forth. The unemployed and the employed are all on the same website, searching and looking. This changes the whole United States. Not only that, you can do that on 7 different continents. So why are we not looking at ideas like that, to where as though we can just create a service of that magnitude, where we can just fill in for each other and create a 40-hour week? If a person works at Burger King, McDonald's, Taco Bell, wherever, all these fast food places, right? If a person works at those places, one here, 2 days there, 1 day here, they can accumulate 40 hours out the week, right? If a customer service representative work at 5 different Walmarts in the area, they can accumulate 40 hours out the week, right? So there's a lot of different ways that we can approach this that can better our society, better us as a whole, without the tearing down, division, separation, putting up walls, all of this stuff. But the people that's in charge, they don't have the ability to think outside the box. So they can't think of different ways of unifying to rebuild our country, right? They just think of different ways of division and destruction in order to rebuild, right? You got to destroy it in order to build back up. That's the way it works. You got to tear it down and build up. So they can't think of a way to unify. Think about it. If somebody is literally filling in, they can accumulate the hours, right? And everything is digital anyway. So this is a great way to move us into digital currency, right? This is a great way for employment to be, you can clock in through your phone. The company can link everything in the phone. You can clock in through an app on the phone, right? As soon as you get to one of the places that you're filling in for, boom, you put your phone up to the machine, clock in through that. It says who you're filling in for, so on and so forth. This keeps track of the people. This keeps track of, so that way you have a way to keep track of your employees, so on and so forth, who they filled in for, keeps a digital record of everything. This is the greatest thing next to sliced bread. But I can't get to the right people in order to pitch my idea. I can't get to the higher ups because I'm so low down in poverty, right? I can't speak to the right people in order to pitch this idea. And the people that's around me don't want to introduce me to the right people to pitch this idea because they too busy hating on me based off of pride and fucking ego, right? So they don't want to build a table. They don't want to see me grow. They don't want to see these ideas flourish. So what they do is they'll tear you down, but then they'll also steal your fucking idea. Temp services of this magnitude do not exist. Temp services that exist right now, they are made for the company. This type of service is made for the people, right? This creates a system of a fill-in service, kind of like, Uber or one of those other type services. It's not the same. It's not the same as a temp agency. All right. A temp agency works for the company. Therefore, everything is very complicated, and you end up getting paid $10 an hour, and they're taking 16 or 6 of your dollars or whatever the case may be. So they're trapping you in that temp service. And when they're done with you after the 90 days, they just let you go. This service is for the people, right? You go on the site yourself, find the people that you want to fill in for you, right? And then through the contracts of the company, this person can't steal your job or anything like that. So it ain't no sense of you being afraid and saying, this person's going to come in and do better than me and they going to hire him. Everything is paid. I mean, everything is lined up through contracts, through companies. Tell a company like, hey, listen, how would you never like to be short-staffed again? Right? Through this service, you'll never have to be short-staffed again, because if someone's on a short notice, a manager can go on to there and say, I need somebody to fill in for this day, so on and so forth, right? And then somebody in that area contact them back and boom, right? They'll have somebody there, right? So this benefits not only the companies, the employed, and the unemployed, right? This benefits everybody, and it benefits the United States in a whole, because this changes the unemployment rate, right? Now, a person that's signed up, or a person that's a part of the fillin.com services, right? Yes, like a professional on-call replacement. Yes, so you go online and this bunch of people just waiting to fill in, right? Soon as you put it in, somebody gonna reply because they got their notification on, waiting, right? It's almost like Uber, but it's for the businesses and the companies, right? So somebody on standby just waiting, right? Now you do this on a greater scale and you're changing the unemployment rate. I want you to really think about it. Before you tear down the idea, because that's what we're based off of, destruction, right? Before you tear down the idea, I want you to really, really think about what I'm saying, because it's not like a temp agency. It's not like that. And with the amount of traffic that it would bring in online, the company would pay for itself. Ad revenue on the page, training classes on the page, so on and so forth, right? Apps for Android, apps for iPhones, right? The company will pay for it itself. I just need to find the right millionaire that's trying to turn his millions into billions and give me a cut of it, so I can go on and build my fucking spiritual communities and shit. You get what I'm saying? I just need to find the right, carnal person that's willing to, say, you know what, you got some great ideas, and let me, you know what I mean? And then I say, okay, listen, whoop wop whoop bam, let me go over here. I just want to do this, and you guys take over from there, because I want you to think about this. Once you put this on 7 continents, it changed the other continents. You get what I'm saying? So once you create a company like this, you can't close the door for other people to create it. You can't close the door for other people to create it. Even though I do have a patent on it and so on and so forth, you can't close the door for other people to create it, because it's going to be so big. So you have to leave the door open for a branch to be made in this area, a branch to be made in that area. In the United States alone, you might have to have a West Coast branch and an East Coast branch, right? This is why I'm trying to build a network, a nation. This is why I'm trying to get the people, because I have a greater plan with all of this, right? But you got people on YouTube that rather tear me down based off of some frivolous bullshit, as opposed to actually seeing the idea, the grander idea of it. We need each other more than anything. You know what I mean? We need each other more than anything right now. But if a new nation, if a new way, if a new build is not coming along, we just, doing the same thing. We sitting here complaining, doing the same thing. But in order for, this level of thinking to get recognized, I got to get out there and get to the people, right? In order to get to this level, in order to get to the right people, I got to get out there, right? You would think that, Jaguar, Wolf Coochie, one of these, so-called creators would see the potential in a mind like mine, as opposed to trying to tear it down. They don't see the potential in having somebody like me around, someone that's a thinker, solver of problems. I got a patent right now for a spring that connects to any toilet seat, automatically push the toilet seat back down after 2 minutes. Stop everybody with this whole, who left the toilet seat up type shit, and stop a lot of asses from getting wet, right? So when you got somebody like me, I'm an overthinker. So it's good to have me at the table, but a lot of people don't like the fact that I think too much. They don't like that shit. He think too much. He always fucking thinking. Like, what the hell? What the hell is my mind for then? Out here trying to solve problems and shit. Who he think he is, Batman? No, I'm just a regular person trying to see everybody in a better light. Yes, we fuck up. Yes, we make mistakes. Yes, we let our feelings and emotions get the best of us. You know what I mean? But at the same time, we all are great. We all might not be great at the same thing, but we all great. You just got to find what you great at. I'm great at thinking. I fucking hyperanalyze everything. I just learned to do it more in my mind, as opposed to letting other people know what's going on in my mind. And people know what's going on in your mind, they realize how, the depths of it, and then they just tear you down anyway. Right? People learn you just to tear you down anyway. So however you look at this, I'm cool with it. But I know once I do get in touch with the right people, once the right people hear what I'm saying, they're going to be like, damn, yo, you on to something, right? And a lot of these people that's in the music industry, they're trying to find a different way to make money. They're trying to find, that's why they're coming over to podcasting, so on and so forth, right? If I got, if I got to pitch that idea to one of them or one of their executives or something like that, they'll see the fucking money in that shit. And they'll be like, you know what? Yo, can you put that in the file? Can you send me that? Can you email me the descriptions of that? Right? I just got to get to the right people. But a lot of people that's in this content creator thing, they see competition. So they'll rather tear you down before you get started because they're scared of what you'll become. That's what it is. They see the potential in you. So they scared of what you can become. So they'll tear you down before you get started. And they don't even know that what you become involves them becoming better. They don't even know what you become actually helps them. They don't know that. They don't know that there's no me without them. They don't know that you know what I mean? Ramir, what's going on with you, Ramir? I see you just popped in. Bro, it would be nice to have a conversation with you when you got some free time. I see you moving in and moving out, you know what I mean, moving around. But, you want to keep that whole conversation going. You got to put yourself around the right tables, put yourself at the right, you know how this internet stuff works, man. Come on. Let's not pretend like we don't know how this internet stuff works, And if it's not your real account, then, hey, the internet's undefeated, right? But yeah, however you look at this, things are changing greatly in this world. The demons are showing themselves.
Booking doc.
Y'all making it seem like these demons ain't showing themselves. They showing themselves. I promise you they is. And they showing you who they are. They showing you what they represent. They showing you what they about.
Lately a nigga been fighting a whole lot of demons.
I've been fighting a whole lot of demons.
A lot of shit we do gonna have consequences, but we gotta be ready for them. Emergency, I just got out of surgery. I'm having problems with my heart and it won't work. I did some shit in my past and it's cursing me. I'ma stay right here for this blood to go take breath from me. I'm sipping this hand and he just pain, but it ain't helping. My little nigga going against the grain and that shit stressing me. I pray to God that God have mercy. I'm living a crazy life. I just shot at a nigga for talking some shit on the gang. He paid the price. I was young and the rest for the money. My hunger for paper to save my life. And that shit can save tonight. If you want that lick shit, we can get rich quick. We can get paid tonight. Dollar bill, y'all. Everybody want the money. Everybody want the money, but don't wanna go down.
You gonna do anything to get it? When you gonna go after it?
Shit, gotta think about it.
187. You killed a nigga. You don't know if you gon' go to heaven. Y'all know what we out here doing. Fight my demons. So many demons.
Me against these demons.
Against these demons.
Fight my demons.
Fighting my
It's me against these
demons. Whoa, I find these demons up in these ropes. I find these demons up in the ropes. I'm getting the beam, get hitting the spleen. The money be clean. And remember they laughed at me. Gave them the ball, the nigga they choked. No code, my niggas follow me like a boat.
Stand on my word and step by the consequence. They say I'm hard, it's back for the
compliment.
I sing it dead, homie, yelling company, BMG gang, and bitch fake competent. Don't wanna hit that shit. I gotta
Get it lethally militant.
I can get ignorant, we not considerate. Niggas do silly shit, we can just drill shit. Guilty and innocent.
Don't give a fuck about bystander.
I can pull up in the
Hotliner. Don't take no slander.
dollar bill, y'all.
Everybody want the money, but don't wanna go down.
Do anything to get it, but when you gon' go out, shit, gotta think about it.
187.
Heard about it.
You killed a nigga. You don't know if you gon' go to heaven.
talk that shit over, real talk. Hey.
Fight my demons, fight my demons, so many demons. It's me against these demons, against these demons. Fight my demons, fighting mine.
It's me against these
Demons, 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 too many demons. Whoa. Fight my demons. Demons, demons, demons. So many demons. I'm fighting these demons up in this ghost. Yeah, but I don't think this is going to turn out how we think it is. I don't think this is a good thing. I actually think this could result in more problems than anything. I think with the protest that's going on with immigration and everything like that, maybe at a different time, this would have been the proper thing to do. I mean, who's to say what's proper in this world, right? Who's to say what's proper, what's not proper in this world, right? But maybe, you know, this is one of those situations where it's like, this wasn't the right time for this, right? We fight in so many different battles on so many different frontiers, right? We already trying to figure out what's going on with the Aquarius sky, you know, coming out of the, you know, 12th lunar cycle going into the 13th lunar cycle. However we look at this, we already trying to figure out what's going on with this 3-eye Atlas comet that's headed this way. We're already trying to figure out what the hell they talking about when they say there's aliens in our oceans. You know, and then we still got to go to work and pay bills and you know, drive cars and all of that shit. So what the hell? What the helly? You know what I mean? Like, damn, can we solve one problem first? It's like they are keeping us in confusion, and because a lot of us are waking up, they got to keep on doing more and more shit to confuse us, you know? So now that we coming into an enlightenment of ourself, you know, a recognition of our consciousness, right? Now they want to keep on distraction, 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 right? The whole McDonald's girl incident, you know, all of a sudden now her lawyer's filing for a 730 to see if she's mentally capable of this. Hold on, wait a minute. Y'all ain't do that shit before y'all told her to go out in the working world and get a job and shit. Y'all ain't see if she was mentally capable. What about the last time when she poked up somebody? Y'all ain't see if she was mentally capable then or stable then. Now all of a sudden the incident take place. Now all of a sudden we got to make sure that she's mentally stable and all of this shit. So they aiming to really put the people in a disarray. They aiming to put the people in anger, right? They want us to look at the system and say the system is failing, da 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 da. So they doing everything to try to create a civil incident. They want it to be a civil incident. They want you to be mad. Now that the country is being given back to the people, now that your rights to your mental, your firmament, all that, the knowledge, the understanding that you're supposed to have, now it's being given back to the people, right? Now they want you to be mad. This is when they want you to be in your feelings and emotions. Now that shit logically makes sense. You know what I mean? Now that shit logically makes sense. Now that you like, So colorology is real. So solar synthesis is real. So there is a different water inside of our vessel that's not H2O. There is a such thing as H3O2. What is that? What is this ether? What is this essence that seems to seep from our body that has something to do with the plasma field or the light body that is around our physical body? What is this? Huh? What is it? Now they want to say the moon has a plasma field around it, just like Earth. Hold on. Wait a minute. Y'all never told us Earth has a plasma field around it. Wait, y'all never told us that we had a plasma field around us. And y'all never told us that the sun was affecting that plasma field that is around us. Why is that? Why you never told us about the light that's coming in from the sun that's affecting the ether that is around your physical body that your soul is connected to? And then your soul is affecting your mental that is creating the reality that you will see, right? Why are they not telling you that? Why is they keeping this from us? Why is it so hard to tell the people what they think is what they see? So therefore, if they perceive the world in a good way, then the world will start turning out to be that. Just like that 100 monkey, 1,000 monkey syndrome serum, whatever the fuck it is that they called it, right? If you look at people the same way and say, hey, maybe if one continent chose to be good, peaceful, unified, maybe other continents would do that. What's the best continent to show that level of unity? Let me think. Would it be the United fucking States? Come on. Why we can't be that continent? Why we can't be the place that starts a level of unity that's so renowned that it literally creates a wave of unity? Why we can't do that? We is the United States. We is a mixing pot of a multitude, right? I mean, if we show unity, other countries have no choice but to unify. Why? Because we showing a level of unity, right? And we got so many different people in our country that if we do it, they're going to do it. Why? Because their idea is to look better than us. So if we go with the example of unity, guess what they going to do? What y'all think they going to do? Huh? Ones in the chat if y'all get what I'm saying. Ones in the chat. All we got to do, that's the Babylon that's going to fall. The Babylon is going to fall is the system that is created. It's not us as people. People are going to unite, but the system that is Babylon is going to fall. So when you realize that the system is the operation of currency, and you realize the operation of currency has to do with the people and how we treat each other, you monetize and you care more about money than you do care about other people. So life means nothing to you. Your Jordans mean more than life. Your car means more than life because you value money so much. Everything that you spent your money on because you put your hard labor, work, and earned it to get it, that's what's more valuable than people now. Right? But real unity comes with accepting everything that we have did thus far. Accept the fact that black people put white people in slavery and then white people put black people in slavery, or the history was mixed up in a way to make it seem like that, right? Accept the fact that we did each other wrong in the past and still doing each other wrong to this day. Accept it. Accept that all things in the past have been just that, past, right? All things have come to pass, right? But where do we journey from here on out? How do we move forward in the, with a greater future? No, I'm not saying erase the history. No, I'm not saying don't teach the history, but how do we take away the feelings and emotions that comes with learning about the history of this world? Because the feelings and emotions should not be applied to things that are of the past, right? Maybe things that are of the present should have your feelings and emotions. Things that to come should have your feelings and emotions. But to keep on putting our feelings and emotions to things of the past is a falsity within itself. It's not a true operation of oneself being ever present, right? You're supposed to be forever present. You guys are stuck in a book. What somebody told you in the past happened. Stuck in the idea that your ancestors might have been done wrong. Stuck in the idea that somebody wrote something down about the history of this world, and that history of this world is what you still go by to this day, and makes you think that everything that's happening is based off of some sort of isolation, superiority, so on and so forth. Different people ruled at different times, so as above, so below. The same way that they acquired this rulership in the universe is the same thing that we mimic down here. The difference is they have order up there. They do not unalive. They do not. This is why in every hero movie, what do the hero do? Capture, capture, capture. You ain't never seen the heroes didn't start unaliving shit until recent heroes. These recent heroes start unaliving shit. These recent heroes started doing the, well, you got to go. I'm gonna take you out. New age heroes thinking about destruction. No real hero thinks about destroying shit. Just don't make sense. Because we know that that energy is still going to exist. It's just going to transfer to somebody else. Somebody else is going to have revenge on you based off of how you treat somebody. So if you go around and you start unaliving people, somebody else is going to, judge you based on that, right? Somebody else is going to deem like, oh man, you think that you do this, who you think you is, da 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 da. How many situations people got into where, the other person was wrong, but because you hit them, they made you out to be the bad guy in the situation. Because you let your feelings and emotions get the best of you, you now look like the bad guy and they now get to play victim. Huh? How many situations happen like that? Huh? How many situations happen like that where somebody play on your feelings and emotions? They know what to say, they know what buttons to push, so on and so forth. So they get you to act irate, and then they turn around and play like they the victim in the situation. You see that happening in the world. It's called victimizing mentality. That's why people attack you, provoke a response, and then when you give them that response, what do? Oh, look what they did to me, look what he did, right? That's why you got to be careful about how you give people your feelings and emotions. Everybody wants to play on your feelings and emotions. It's a manipulation tactic. They learn you so they can burn you, right? They learn you so they can burn you. They want to hear what's going on. They want to hear what you're saying. And then later on, they use what you said against you in an argument or a fight. You could tell people about your previous relationships. And I guarantee you, everybody been in a situation where somebody used their past as a way to tear you down. And somebody said, oh yeah, now I see why your dad beat your ass. Now I see why your mom locked you in the basement. Now I see why. We all been through that shit. In one way, shape, or form, we all been through it. One's in the chat if you've been through it. One's in the chat if you've been through it. If you know what I'm talking about and you've been through it, one's in the chat. I mean, unless you're the person that's putting somebody through it, then shit. Put ones in the chat because the fact you putting somebody through it. You know what I'm saying? Either way, a one should be in the chat from everybody because, motherfucker, either you the one that's doing the shit or you the one that's getting the shit done to you. Huh? Huh? Yeah, I know. Think about it. For every action, there's an equal or opposite reaction. In order for us to change the actions, we got to stop reacting or react differently. So when people want you to outburst, when people want you to lash out, when people want you to respond in anger, maybe you need to respond differently. Maybe we should become a laughing society where we laugh at people that do asinine and redundant shit. Maybe we should become that type of society, where we chuckle at the fact that people insult our intelligence or try to play on us, like we dumb. You know how people take their indirect shots? People act like they not talking about you, but the situation that they talking about resembles the exact situation that you in. You know how you know what I'm saying? You borrow money from somebody and shit, and then you ain't paid them back in a while, but they around you and they indirectly talking shit. Like, I hate when people borrow money and don't pay it back. And you sitting there thinking like, damn, I borrow money and I ain't pay you back yet. All right, I'm gonna overlook it. You know what I'm saying? And then they keep on saying shit. Don't you think I don't like when people borrow money and take forever to pay you back. And you sitting there like, damn, is this motherfucker talking to me again? So then you speak up. Yo, what's up? You talking to me? You talking about me? Because I do owe you some money. No, I ain't talking about you. I ain't talking about you. I mean, if you feel a certain type of way about it, then da 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 da. If the shoe fit, then those type of people. Or how about the type of people that wait till y'all get into an argument and then want to pray for you? Wait till y'all fall out and then say you need Jesus. Huh? Why I only need Jesus when we falling out? Why I only need Jesus when I'm not fucking, agreeing with you? Huh? Why I didn't need Jesus before that? When I was in agreement with your ass, I didn't need Jesus. We was dance all night. You know what I'm saying? Now that we not seeing eye to eye, now you gonna pray for me. Now I need Jesus. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Huh? Because right now, in this day and age, you got to say some shit that makes sense. If you're with me, you're with me. No matter if you're not with me, you're going to still show that you with me, right? People sit around and with this whole social media thing, they say shit on the back end, make it seem like they support you, they fuck with you, they rock with you, but then on the front end, they trying to play the middle. They trying to play the, well, I'm not in it. I'm just saying, I'm not, nah, cut it out. I'm good on that. Anybody that's trying to play in my face, anybody that's doing that two-sided shit, anybody that's trying to play neutral with the bad guy, I'm good on that. Anybody that's, I want y'all to think about this. There's a lot of people in this world, and because they, get funds or money or taken care of by the bad guy, they willing to overlook bad guy shit. The bad guy's paying their bills. The bad guy's taking care of them, right? So they willing to overlook bad guy shit. Think about it. Half of our community is struck by, drug dealing and shit like that. But in the community, the people don't see that because that shit's paying some bills. That shit's taking care of some households. But if we change into this fill-in service where people can actually go get work at McDonald's and then go to Burger King for 8 hours, go to McDonald's for a couple of hours, go over here for a couple of hours, right? The employment rate will change, right? But we can't get out of the employment rate changing if people can just go to feetfinder.com and sell feet pics, right? If people can just go, it's a lot of men out here that just want to buy women some lingerie and shit like that and tell them to take some flicks for them and there's a stack. There's this. A lot of people using their money for fucked up shit. Everybody else is just using their money for vacations. They want to take a trip, right? Collectively, we can make America great. Collectively, we can make America better. But if everybody is doing this personal mind, individual shit, we never gonna put back the Federal Reserves. The Federal Reserves is empty. On my mama. On my mama. Let me get on my 607 shit. But the Federal Reserve is empty, gang. The Federal Reserve ain't got nothing in it, gang. On my mama. And they don't care, gang. We gods. We gods. We just don't know we gods. It's like they tricked us. They made us think that we was humans and God didn't exist and whole time we was gods. And see, they changed up the fruit and foods and stuff like that, gang. And now, on my mama, I swear, on my mama. And now we don't even know who we is. We was supposed to be teaching them, and they ended up teaching us. See, they learned us and burned us. I swear to God, on my mama. See, we went up to the Caucasus Mountains. See, you don't know about the Caucasus Mountains. ISIS pages, you know about the ISIS pages? You don't know about the ISIS pages, gang. See, what took place was a manipulation of the mind, right? So when the, when the African, came and taught people a way of feeding off of light and fruit and vegetation, right? They shunned it, right? Because the people that was in the northern, they knew about the blood, because in the wintertime, everything is unalive. So when you got different cultural settings like that, you got the Nordic, right? They knew about the power that was in the blood, right? See, we knew about the power that was in the fruits. Vegetations took place with solar synthesis from the sun. I swear to God, gang, on my mama. We knew and had a greater understanding for the solar system, right? See, they knew about earthly things because they ate the flesh. They ate from the flesh, right? They ate the blood, right? See, we didn't do that. But see, they told us, how can you tell us not to eat it if you never tried it, right? So what they did was they put all the people in the operation of flesh. On my mama, I swear, gang. I swear, gang. On my mama. See, we don't know this. We don't know that if we stop eating from or partaking in these rituals, this is why, you know, Jeremiah verse 10 says, do not be fooled by signs of their nations, right? We don't know that if we put ourselves back in proper operation collectively, we'll get back to that consciousness of the universe. Right now, we're in an unconscious state because we keep putting unalive things within inside of our vessel. But if we eat properly, you know, control Saturn, the digestive system, you know, Satan rules the bowels, however you want to look at it. That's where bowel movement comes from, all of these bowel worship and so on and so forth, right? So we control our digestive system, change our eating, right? And this is going to greatly put us back in contact with the sun, because what's going to happen is inside your stomach, right? Your stomach is going to start fermenting all the fruits and vegetables. This is where the 30 days come in, right? So your stomach is going to start fermenting all of the fruits and vegetables. This creates fructose energy inside your body, right? Fructose energy is better than glucose energy. Glucose energy comes from sugar. It's a false energy, right? Glucose is a false energy, but fructose energy is what your body actually runs on. Your body can turn fructose energy into H3O2 faster than it can water, right? So when you use fructose energy, your body turns that into a ferment. This is where you become omnipotent. You're three different things. You're water, a gas, and a solid. So through that, you are a liquid, and inside your body, it creates a gas through the fermentation of this fruit that's inside your stomach, and then that fermentation rises up in your vessel. This is why people who eat fruit, what do? They burp. They burp. It rises up. People who eat meat, beans, what happened? They fart, right? It's a difference. These gases are moving in different ways through your gastrointestinal bypass, right? If you look up the real story of Hercules, you will see that this is the same story of Hercules, right? This is how you become a demigod. So these gases, they move in different directions. When you eat fruit, the gases move upward, right? You burp. Sometimes you taste it in your mouth, right? This is creating a firmer mint. These are gases that are moving. That's not even including the liquid that moves up your spine, but these are gases that are moving inside the vessel, right? And then through the sun, you are going through a solar synthesis. Where plants go through photosynthesis, you go through a solar synthesis. This takes place usually while you're asleep and stuff, right? So while you're asleep, right, with this, especially if you go to sleep in the middle of the day with a bunch of fruits and stuff in your body, right? It's creating this system inside your body of fermentation. This is where a firmer mental come in, right? This is why it's a play on words. Whenever you hear mint, think of mind or mental. So when you got firmer mint, it's a firmer mind, right? God created a firmer mind, right? So you got firmer mint, right? That's where you got government, right? It governs your mind, right? Let's keep it going. Now you got testament, right? Testament. It tests your mind, right? And it's also a representation of the testicles, which is body and mind. So the book is actually talking about the body and the mind. So the Old Testament is the old body and mind, and the New Testament is the new body and mind, right? So it's a way to operate thy vessel. You operate under the old body and mind, or you operate under the new body and mind. And now they changed this further on into maritime laws. Maritime laws is the operation of the currency, but not just the currency outside your body, but the currency inside your body, which is also known as the Holy See, right? So through the operation of the Holy See, right, they are manipulating the currency that is inside of our vessel to put us in a false operation, what is called the false tree of life, right? This is where your kundalini energy, your acoustic records, all of this, so on and so forth, information is at. Is when you rise above the carnal ways within inside the vessel, you start cleaning up different chakra systems inside your vessel, all the way to your 12th chakra, past your crown chakra. Your crown chakra is your Christ chakra. It's considered to be the crown chakra of the body. They changed that to the 7th chakra, which is like your heart chakra. But it used to be the crown. Christ was represented as the crown chakra, but when he explained to them, you know, he was feeding off the sun and getting information from the sun, they mocked him, put a crown of thorns on his head and said, here's your crown, you know, for the sun god, right? And then they mocked him, and then they later, the Romans came in and picked this same thing on coins and so on and so forth, right? Just like the trident. If you go back, you'll see that they depicted the trident on the coins and stuff, right? But this was an operation of 3: Earth, Mars, and Venus. The operation of these 3 energies is what we're in. So we're fighting these different energies constantly. We are not equally yoked. This is where the original term hermaphrodite comes in. It is Hermes and Aphrodite put together with inside the vessel, your feminine energy and your masculine energy uniting, right? This is Hermes energy, Aphrodite's energy put together, and this was the original term for hermaphrodite. This wasn't a term that they created in the physical. In the physical, they created an idea for it, right? Which we now look at and say, oh, that's a hermaphrodite. That ain't it, right? The energies of these monarchs is what we represent. Some of us got Zeus monarch energy. Some of us got Poseidon monarch energy. Some of us is connected to the earth through different variations of alchemy, right? So when you start connecting back to your one true self, you'll start realizing these different fragments of your mind, right? Fragmentation. These are different fragments of your mind that are scattered out within inside the universe, within inside yourself. These are what you're supposed to be collecting and putting back together. It's spread out in the knowledge in this world. When you start putting knowledge into your vessel, different things will start connecting into the dimensions of your mind. Different verses will start connecting the more knowledge you put in your vessel. That's why the Bible said, seek all knowledge for the kingdom of heaven. And when it asks about the kingdom of heaven, it says it's inside of you, right? So this is telling you that heaven is inside of you, and you're supposed to seek knowledge for that heaven that's inside of you. So you're supposed to put knowledge in your vessel for the heaven inside of you. That's why when they tell you about Ezekiel's wheel being in the sky, right? It's the wheels that's turning in your brain. You get these wheels turning in your brain by forever being a student, forever journeying for knowledge, forever trying to learn, right? There was a time back in the day where they told us, like, hey, if you read something before you go to sleep, it'll replay in your mind. This is what they told us about studying. Study before you go to sleep at night, because when you go to sleep, the last thing that you study will replay in your mind over and over again. So that's why you study into great things before you go to sleep. Read something great before you go to sleep. Read something knowledgeable before you go to sleep, so it can, repeat in your mind. Don't be afraid to turn the TV off. A lot of y'all are not really sleeping because you need white noise. You need a noise in your background. You need the TV on playing in your background to sleep. You need something like that. You're programmed like that, right? You're not really resting when you do that. Your ears are constantly in operation because it's taking in that sound, right? Same thing with eyes. This is why a lot of people will put, the folds on their eyes so they can be in triple black darkness, right? Some people can't go to sleep with something over their eyes. They feel like something's, it's too quiet. It's something. No, don't put nothing on my face when I'm sleeping. Scary shit. I don't live in that type of environment where you could just put something over my eyes while I'm asleep. Fuck that. If I jump up, I need to see immediately. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no take this off your face type shit. When I open my eyes, I need to see immediately, I fuck around and forget they got that. I fuck around and forget this is on my face. Think I done lost the ability to see. Where my phone at? I can't see anymore. Oh, I got this shit on my face. Now I do play like sometimes frequencies or something like that. Like if I'm going through like back pains or something like that, I might play different variations of frequency while I'm asleep. If you do a study, this is why cats purr. Cats purr because they heal themselves when they're purring and so on and so forth. This is why a cat will jump on somebody who's going through something and give them that little purring and stuff like that. Their body be shaking and stuff like that. The bigger the problem, the harder the purr. Um, but and also if you look into bees, bees use their vibration as a defense system. If an intruder ever comes into the beehive, the bees will surround it and flap their wings to a certain temperature, which will basically cook the other thing from the inside out. You know what I mean? Once they all smother it and put their temperature at a certain uh, you know body temperature with their flapping of the wings, the object that's struggling to get out is going to basically overheat like a microwave. Yeah, cats heal when they purr. Cats be healing themselves when they do that purring. It's a healing mechanism. Vibrational frequency. That's why I listen to certain frequencies when I go to sleep at night. I'll put on certain frequencies. Some frequencies high enough you can't hear with the human ear, but if you just let them play, you know. But it's also like sinners. Like sinners, you got to be careful. Your voice exceed past all things, time and everything, right? So when you got a voice that is powerful, it can heal things in the timeline. By you speaking on certain things, it can heal things in the timeline. Yes, you're not going to see a physical recognition of that healing, right? But you're going to notice a different outcome in life. You're going to notice, like, look how things are going right now. We are fighting for our youth. We are fighting for our children. A lot of people don't know what the fight is about. This is for the future generations, so they can come into a world of knowledge, so they won't be born in sin, right? We was already born in sin. If we was born in sin, we did it so the future generations don't have to be born in sin. So we shouldn't be teaching them what it is to be born in sin. We shouldn't be passing on that knowledge of a sinful world. We were born in it so they wouldn't have to. So we should be passing on a level of them being born in righteousness. We should tell them that they're born in righteousness. We should tell them that they're born in the glory of the light. We should teach all generations in the future that they're not born in sin. We were born in sin. We were born in a time of darkness. So you wouldn't have to be born in a time of darkness. We went through that so you can be born within this life, in this light of righteousness. And that should be a reflection of this world. The world should reflect righteousness. The future generations are ready for it. They're prepared for it. We the ones that stuck in our ways. We the ones that still want to look at color. We the ones that still want to separate and divide. I can't even have a fucking relationship outside my race. And I can't have a relationship inside my race because the intellects don't fucking match. Can't have a relationship outside my race because all these motherfuckers that's inside my race, all they want to do is shake their ass. So I can't even have a fucking relationship because I can't find nobody that's okay with being around the intellectual person, being around someone that is logical and not feelings and emotions. Everybody wants me to operate on feelings and emotions. I can't operate like that. I fight myself every time I try to operate like that. Every time I falsely operate like that. When I start doing shit out of feelings and emotions. When I start cutting people off, doing that type of fuckery. That's not me. Y'all vessels are okay with operating like that. My vessel is not okay with operating like that. So I have to continue operating with kindness, love, light, truth, transparency. Y'all can finish operating in the dark. Some of us operate in the dark and some of us operate in the light. It's a day walker. I'm a day walker. I'm a daydreamer. I'm not afraid to challenge this world for a moral compass. I'm not afraid to challenge this world for righteousness. I'm not afraid to stand against the crowd. I'm not afraid to stand alone. And the universe prepared me for this because it knew it was going to be a lonely path. The universe prepared me for a lonely journey. You know? A lot of people won't answer the call. A lot of people listen to the ring, but they won't answer the call. A lot of doors was knocked on for this. A lot of doors was knocked on. None of y'all answered. The universe knocked on a lot of fucking doors for this. None of y'all answered. None of y'all wanted to challenge the world. None of y'all wanted knowledge back into this world. Everybody wanted materialistic things. Everybody wanted money to get them out of the situation, pay their bills, pay their student loans, so on and so forth. The universe knocked on a lot of y'all doors. Some of y'all thought about lust, greed, gluttony, taking over. All y'all, so many people operated with the Lilith energy. Nobody was humble enough to get the universe energy that's in the Aquarius sky, which comes from Uranus. Uranus is known as the heavenly planet. Also comes with the energy of Lilith and the humble sun. Nobody wanted to be humble with inside their vessel in order to get the knowledge of the universe. And the universe knocked on so many doors. Usher can tell you that the universe knocked on so many doors. These elites can tell you that the universe knocked on so many doors. They don't know where the energy going. They don't know where the knowledge is going. That's what got them so fucked up in the world. They knew Luciferian energy was going to come back. They knew some was going to be in the power of the tongue in this magnitude. They just thought that they can pick and choose who it was going to be. And now they mad because they didn't get it. And now they trying to search and find who the fuck got it. Who got this energy that's coming in from the universe? Who is it? They know it's in America somewhere. Whose is it? Which one of you mother suckers is hiding the energy and the knowledge of the universe, a messenger of the gods? Which one of you is it? Because that's what has to come first. A Raphael. If we being approached by the angels, a Raphael would have to come first with knowledge and wisdom. And then a Gabriel would have to come with a choice. And then we would have to decide which way we want to live in this world. And then if we don't decide the right way, which is knowledge, wisdom, love, and understanding, then Michael's going to come. And we all know who Michael's in charge of. Michael ain't in charge of just know anybody, right? Isn't he the leader of the army of God? So yeah, so right now we're in the time of the gathering. Chosen ones, you're being attacked. You're being attacked psychologically, right? You see it. Gaslighting, right? Cyber stalking, right? And it would seem like the applications that you're operating on do nothing for you. You ever notice that? Huh? You ever notice your page gets taken down for speaking against people that comes against you? Isn't that odd? As a chosen one, as an enlightened being, as a star seed, right? It's odd. As a black sheep of the family, whatever you want to call yourself, you're coming into a grander understanding, you're reaching out. You know that the universe is telling you now's not the time to be recluse. Now's the time to get out there, find your collective, but you can't find your collective. You're finding a lot of people that's distracting you and pretending to be of a spiritual collective only to try to hold you to carnal experiences. Come on. Come on, people. Recognize that we're in the time of the gathering. Open your eyes. You know? If you move your feet, your ass will follow, I promise you. If you move your feet, your ass will surely follow. Now, can we get to 10,000 likes? We got 146 people in here. Can we please tap the screen, share the live, and get the likes up? If anybody would like to come in the box, please come in the box. If you would, please, at the top of the screen, you might see a follow button at the top of the screen. Hit that follow button, okay? And if you see hearts at the top of the screen, join the team, get your daily heart meets, so on and so forth. We do play the game. We will be on my other page, Energy of Atlas, playing the game later on. Would love for people to go over there and, kick it with us, hang out with us. We are a small collective now, but we're looking to grow. We're looking to get bigger. Join the Discord. We need as many volunteers as possible for this because the fight is on social media. You see the different variations of idols that they're putting out there, from the Kai Cenats to the Aiden Ross to the ISO Speeds. Our youth are now in high operation of lust. Yes, we can learn from our youth, but there's no respect within the young. They have to see that we're fighting for them, and we want the knowledge and the wisdom to be put back out there. Generations, we have to bridge these gaps, the lacks of understandings, and so on and so forth that goes on. We have to be willing to build and grow with one another.
Okay.
What's going on with you? I can hear you.
Hello there.
How's everything?
A little chaotic, but warfare all the time.
You said a little chaotic?
Just a little bit. I mean, I can kind of handle it these days, but so and so.
It's still getting out of control, though.
Kind of.
The
I'm
left.
not in U.S. and kind of settling down, but like global-wise, it's just still a bit chaotic.
I mean, individually, we can say that we got it under control, but collectively, it's out of control.
Yeah.
You know?
And yeah, we just put out the immediate fires here, but people got a long way to go.
I think like once, a level of understanding is put out there and we start actually bridging some of these social gaps, whether it be race, color, creed, language barriers, we have to find a way to rise above all of that.
Yeah. Kind of something, because even religion is infiltrated these days.
I mean, all of it is based off of the state of mind, right? Because we need something to believe in order to give hope that gives us something to strive for in a world where we are constantly watching people become victims of the society that they're a part of. Because society is raising people now, and society is raising a victimizing type of collective.
Like making them more helpless, feeling like they're helpless and hopeless.
Yeah.
Because there are more options to the solutions.
Yeah. I mean, think about it like this. Someone, has something done to them. And I don't want to bring it up, but let's look at the McDonald's, Detroit McDonald's situation, right? Someone was tormenting this girl at her home, right? And she went and took it out on somebody at the job, right? This is creating a mindset to say it's okay to take your feelings and emotions out on the wrong people. Someone did me wrong, so I went out and did somebody else wrong.
It's understandable, but it's like it's too intense these days because people are being stifled even more than before.
Yeah, and it's creating a systematic rift because it's coming in chaotic spurts of like people driving into crowds or so on and so forth. And with school starting back up, I'm afraid that it might get a lot worse with school starting back up.
It's like it's even more frustrating because people already know that it is the time to speak up, and there are many platforms to speak up. It's not like we were all apart like before. Internet is everywhere, but yet they still can't speak up. That's really I think that's really defeating and frustrating for the people. And
You say because people not speaking up, that's where the frustration lies for the people?
mhm.
Oh, because the right people not speaking up. The ones who actually can speak up are not speaking up.
Yeah.
A lot of the elites and stuff like that. Well, they're swore into a code. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
it goes back to like old. It goes back to old days. You know, uh, if you go back to like even like you go back to the Queen, right? Everybody who signed up to protect the Queen, everybody who signed up, you know, it's in their claw that says, you know, if this person unalive, they get buried with that person. That's still in the clause of royal, you know, when it says you're protecting somebody even in death, right? So a lot of people, you know, going back to old age knowledge, you know, medieval days, stuff like that, they got buried with the kings and queens. This is why they found civilizations. If you go back to like, you know, mummy and stuff like that, this is why they found whole, you know, civilizations or whole people that was trapped underground, you know, alive because their ruler passed. And in that, when you swear an oath back then, it was different. A lot of people are still under these. I mean, if you read this book, it's called Pale White Horse. It tells about the secret societies of this world and stuff like that. And it tells you that they're swore into like a brotherhood. So they can't go against that. They're swore in. Like even with some of these Eastern witches, you know, Ephahs, even with you know, religion, right? When you become an ordained minister, they tell you that you're ordained only to speak the gospel. Now the trick is they ask you if you know the book, and then they ask you what is the book about, right? They ask you like when you take your ordained ministry, like they ask you what is the Bible about, and when you answer the right way, which is basically the Bible is a book of the body and how one navigates through the vessel in order to become enlightened, right? They're going to say you can become an ordained minister, but you're only ordained to speak the Trinity and the gospel, right? You got to think, why is that? If I know the truth about the book and that it is to unlock the dimensions of the mind inside the body, why can't we speak about that? Why is ordained ministers only ordained to speak about the Trinity and the gospel? This is why they stay in the New Testament. They rarely go back to the Old Testament. They'll go back to the Old Testament for a small verse, but then it's Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. You know?
Yeah.
There's different variations of things in this world that once these people take oaths, they're swore in. It's just like an officer that takes an oath. It's just like, you know, different variations of people that take oaths. Once they take these oaths, they're swore in. And they're going to hold them to that oath. They're going to hold them to what they're governed to. So, you know, when these elites, it's just like the comedians, all the comedians, they got an oath. They know that nobody can't go against their little brotherhood. So they don't go against other people's brotherhoods or whatever hoods they operate in, these secret organizations. So when it comes to like hip hop, it's like they say, oh, they're in their own genre. They got to deal with it in their own, you know what I mean? So it's a lot of people at the table that are in charge of, you know, a lot of elites. They're just in charge of certain groups. You know what I mean? They've been in charge of these different sectors since, you know, the secret brotherhood of the snakes.
Right. And it's kind of concerning because before it was like all illusion, right? It's like nobody would even know where they are, or they're just saying, oh, they're around, but it's mostly like a social circle. But these days they pop up in the news. They're like donating to places where they can put their influence in. It's like crazy. It's like they're on Facebook groups all of a sudden.
Well,
Nobody knows what happened. Yeah.
Maybe they probably been operating like that, but because the internet is undefeated, we now see the operation more now.
Right.
You know, maybe they've been operating under these secret, you know, alliances and secret, plots and stuff like that. They might have been operating like that. We never looked at it until now because we didn't have the internet exposing a lot of it. A lot of them was able to travel to towns and put their little secret donations in and, create the media how they wanted it to look and so on and so forth. So the manipulation might have always been there. We just wasn't able to see it because of the social media thing. And now that we move to this digital format, it's more seeable because of the way that they're influencing streamers, the way that they're attacking streamers, so on and so forth, the way that they're going after the platforms instead of actually changing the world that we live in. We'll rather fight about, who should, operate TikTok.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So because it's always been about putting the intentions of the people, right? Propaganda, right? We gotta paint this image. I started realizing it when I started watching other people's movies, like other countries' movies and stuff. I was like, wait a minute. Every country paint their country out to be the heroes, In Russia, their movies come out and they're the heroes. And in every country, their people is the ones doing the right thing, doing it. You know what I mean? So when you think about that, everybody's fighting for what they were taught was right.
Yeah.
So when you look at it like that, it's like nobody really painted their own country. Nobody's claiming to be the bad guy in their own country, in other words. It's not like, Putin's running around like, yes, I'm the bad guy. You know what I mean? Kim Jong-un ain't out there preaching that he the bad guy. All of these people are telling the story how they see fit. Telling his story. And now we are trapped in a multitude of different stories.
Right.
We don't know how to get out of it. We stuck in history.
Yeah. I mean, the more simple we think of it, it is. Maybe there's the solution, but I guess it wouldn't be, nice and kind and clean. There's bound to be some tribulations and altercations at times.
So you saying a fight must happen?
Kind of, but something a little bit more than that. I'm not speaking out too much on it because, this is TikTok. But, I mean, ideally, it's all good if nothing happens, but it takes something to make a huge shift after we've been stuck for this long time.
If a fight gotta happen, can it just be like a digital fight with words? Do it have to be like a physical altercation?
That part depends. I mean, people do argue on here, but the thing is, people are so detached from what they preach and how they act that talking about it on, especially internet, because people just have a different persona as soon as they turn on their phone. So it's not really connecting to the real life. Even the political people here doing their arguments, they're not really in the movement, some of them. They just do for, clout and money, so.
I know, but okay, look, like you just said, right? In order for this great change to happen, some kind of fight must happen, right?
Right.
So can it be a more verbal, digital fight over data than a physical altercation over material? Because obviously this is not about material, because we already know that everybody in the world can fit within the state of Texas. Right? So obviously this fight have to be more so about the control of people, right? So if it is about the control of people, why make it a physical fight?
I mean, depending on what kind of leeches we can gain, the people who have control over their sinners, it can be a bit cushioned, but physically we do have to see certain amount of chaos because some people don't log on to certain platforms, and certain platforms are heavily, it has to be some kind of a boom and a shockwave for people to really say, shit, we really don't want to go down this road, you know? I don't know what it'll take, but it's even happening nowadays, so.
So that's what I'm saying. Like with everything that's happening, right? With everything that's happening and everything that's already taking place, right? We already know that an ideal altercation is to be had or is being had, right? And we already know that a system of babbling has been created through all of the social media fighting, whether it be Trump fighting on Twitter or fighting with, Elon Musk or so on and so forth. We can say that a certain variation of our fight has become a digital fight, right?
Right. Because, I mean, the best scenario is people just kind of, giving it up because they've ascended too high and they're thinking, yeah, this is pointless. Let's just focus on the good from now on. That's the best scenario. But we are living in a tangible, dense reality at the moment, so it has to reach most of the people. Just by news for some people, they have to kind of hear it or feel or see it by some way, even if they don't change a whole lot, And yes, still the best way to do that is, tangible, a little bit of chaos. So I don't like it, but yeah.
Wait, you keep on trying to justify this chaos.
No. I
Okay.
don't want any chaos to happen.
All right, so listen, we want change to happen, right? We don't want the chaos that comes with that change, right? So when you're looking at the variation of chaos that's happening right now, I want you to, take heed to what's happening right now. You have different variations of different people playing with this social media experience, and they are manipulating the minds of the multitude by putting them in different mindsets of low vibration variations of fear, destruction, or you know what I mean? So it's like a lot of fear mongering going on because controversy sells, right? People go see a horror movie because they like the thrill of it being scary.
Okay, I kind of, it's not like people have to make up these fear tactics too. I think people have to see the reality of where this is even gonna go, and I guess the perpetrators have to feel it even just a little bit, They're thinking it has nothing to do with them still, but I mean, you're living on this planet, so how can it not be about you eventually? And you can cushion the effects of it. Energy workers do that.
So when you say like the perpetrator has to feel a certain part of it, you mean like they have to get their karma?
I mean, they're reaping their karma even now, but they have to kind of have a little, reverse negative aha moments. Like, what am I doing right now? That's when the change starts happening, and maybe they will have like a small piece of their original self kind of peeking through, and it may just vanish after a short moment, but they're going to go like, what's that? And no matter how much they're aware of how their mind is going, then their actions start shifting just a little bit. Their, demeanor starts to shift a little bit, and who knows? Really, who knows?
But how if they lack the empathy to feel anything that they're putting other people through? Are you saying like they would have to they would have to be put through it themselves in order to feel what the other person is going through, right? Because they already justified their actions in their minds. This is why narcissistic people have no notion of feelings to how other people, you know, are going through what they're putting them through. They already justified it in their minds. So unless they go through it themselves, they'll never really know what that other person is going through.
Hmm. But it kind of varies by person, what kind of culture they were grown up in, and their with the circumstances they grew up in, or their life experiences, their values. There's always this small chasm of point where they feel that vulnerability eventually, because they're human. And by some strange turn of events, it's kind of poking at their sides just a little bit more than months before. I'm kind of hopeful, but yeah, I'm still watching how it goes. Mhm.
So you're just observing the chaos.
Sometimes I do energy work
Okay.
when it's my turn to do so.
Right. But right now you're just observing the chaos.
No, it's like the time comes and I just go forth and do it, and I'm constantly kind of trying to mediate the energies. And sometimes I have to see how it goes and then do something. I'm not the whole, like, driver of this thing. There are many people all over the globe. It's not like we have a club, because it's all self-path personally. You don't want to, like, do something collective and get all poked up by it and start monetizing it. No, that's not the point. I know of a person, I just kind of read this person's blog sometimes. She does similar work than me, and we're kind of relieved that some other person is trying to mitigate the damage of chaos at times. Sometimes it's not perfect, but we're human, And it just, if you're in the right mindset, even the loss kind of gives off a wave of cleansing after it, because...
So can I ask you a question? Why is so many people pretending to be spiritual workers but they're not?
I think the first reason is, like, easy money. Easy money.
Okay. Because there's a lot of people who are pretending to be spiritual and they're not. And it's funny because every time I speak to people who say that they are healers, they are actually the ones that are cheering on certain variations of a magnitude of low vibrational things to continue to exist. So a lot of the healers that are now out are actually imposters that are pretending to have the ability to heal, but don't understand the timelines or the monarch timelines that you have to go through to actually be a healer. There's a lot of healers that don't have the knowledge of the universe, that don't know that we're broken up spirits inside the vessels of mankind. They don't know that these timelines are actually fraudulent. They don't know that we are multi-dimensional beings, but they're running around saying that they're healers, but they don't know how to teach somebody how to reach the multiple dimensions of their minds. How is that? How you can't tell nobody how to unlock their mind by healing different timelines, but everybody's a healer?
It really varies by person, but the whole generic love and light crowd, yeah, they've been indoctrinated by the uppities who don't want people to actually wake up. They think being nice and good is always the solution, when it's kind of not. And there are people who kind of get the skills and they're doing it, but they're like just basic nurses. They treat people. It's okay for a little while, but they can't really teach anything. And then there are people who utilize, like, skill, these other instruments. Sometimes it may be sound, sometimes it may be something else, anything it can be. And sometimes healing happens a bit shrewdly. Something that shouldn't be about healing just kind of touches something deep inside you, and then you get to work to healing. Just kind of like what you say. I think it's a bit of a high skill to kind of get to the point where you quantumly kind of manage or arrange your, energies. That's kind of a high skill to have. But the fake healers, really the fake ones, monetary, wanting to have a sense of control in this world, and narcissism. That's the best I can think of right now.
Absolutely. That is like the base of it. But what do you say, like, okay, how can I put this? Like, the revealing of truth is a great healing mechanism, is it not?
Yeah. sometimes you kind of get into space where the lies and deceit and horrible deeds are so packed in it that you kind of get the blowback of all the pain, and especially if you're related to what they're doing. But yeah, after a while, it kind of gets more soothing, and then you get stronger.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why I say, like, a lot of people don't know what it is to be a morning star, and that's what you're speaking about, is a morning star, someone who people seems to bring their morning to, right? Some people bring you a lot of their, shadow, and you are the worker of that. You give them sound advice, you make them feel at ease, so on and so forth. So a lot of people don't know that they're morning stars. They don't know that they take on people's mornings and they make people feel better. So they don't know that gift. They're looking at it as a curse. Like, why people always bring me trouble? Why people always want to talk to me about their worries?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's really hard when the person kind of wants to open up and get rid of it or heal up, but they're scared and they just start being a little mean and start smearing your, actions and stuff. It's a little hard.
Yeah, that's the problem that you run across a lot, is like, when you're trying to help somebody in a sense of being a light worker, it doesn't come with that physical help. They're looking for that physical help. I was looking for you to cut me a check and provide me some financial stability, and you come in talking about change your mind and da 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 da. You know what I mean? So it's like it's hard to explain to people, like, hey, listen, your help does not come in the form of finances. That comes later after you're healed. Right now, you have to be in the right state of mind. They don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
For real, they don't want to hear it. They don't like, look, the universe is in task of creating a lift of finances. I'm in the task of you getting over certain trials and tribulations of the past. Saying that it's your parents' fault that you turned out this way. Lacking accountability, and this is where we work. We work in that healing field where we allow people, and we use different variations of ways to do it, like you said, but it's also ultimately up to the person that we're healing to have the revelation to say, damn, they right. I keep on going through the same thing because I'm stuck in a cycle of focusing on that, of which is. Some people keep on going through bad relationships because they're focused on that, of the, I can't find the right person. Will I ever find the right person? That's why I say let go and let God, because sometimes when you just let it go and you just find love within yourself, love will find you. When you constantly going out searching for love, you're trying to force people that is not of love to love you.
Yeah. Yeah. And the going around in circles kind of varies too, because if it's more about what you felt and you're just squeezing out of your system and grieving it, then it's a little better. But if you're kind of making it a whole excuse to keep having bad habits, then it becomes a bit of a problem. Because sometimes you really dig deep to kind of reach the part where it hurt the most, and then the whole reason why you even got hurt in this first place then kind of starts resurfacing. It's just lifetime. It's a lifetime thing.
It's a constant reminder. Like, you got some people have to constantly remind themselves that it wasn't their fault.
Right.
And then some people got to remind themselves the accountability that they need to have.
Right.
So it's like it all goes back to discernment. In this world, you have to have discernment. It's like sitting at the poker table. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and know when to run. Because right now, everybody ain't in it for the goodness of this world. A lot of people are not in it to try to make this world better. A lot of people are not in it to see this world better. A lot of people are in it for the destruction. They thrive on it. They want the chaos. They like it. They enjoy it. But they don't want to be the ones involved in it, but they want to be the ones to watch it. You know what I mean?
I had a lot of, conflicted emotions about it. And, I mean, we've been building up this high tower of Babylon. It's just too tightly knit and it's rotting from the inside. So we do have to destruct it at one point. But what I always wish for and pray for is at least for the people to stay safe as much as they can. If it has to be an injury, let it be not like something permanent. Let them have lots of love and support. That's always the whole point. Us redeeming, what people can do when they're collectively aligned together for a good cause, and
Absolutely.
how healing and re-healing is always possible as long as we're careful. Thanks for the heartbeat. Thanks for the follow things.
I see knowledge being put back into this world, but I also see a heavy combatants against it. Like I see knowledge and a understanding of the conscious that we're all coming into, this collective consciousness, this oneness that we're supposed to have. I see it, but I also see a heavy magnitude of people coming against it that's trying to force us into separation, force us into not gathering, not holding universal conversations like this one.
I think one of the reasons is the whole fake spiritualists kind of just grabbing it and running away with it, hence kind of tarnishing into another product. That's not really positive. This thing is for everybody. It doesn't really have a price.
Right.
It's good. It's like air. It's like nature. It's like breathing.
Right.
But they keep selling it. They keep making like new artwork inspired by it, and then they claim that it's their idea only, when it's not. It's for everyone.
Right. Kind of like what they did with aura. Like aura was a way for us to understand the light body that's around our physical body, which is the essence of us, and they changed it to make it seem like it was a fashion thing, like you had to be cool in order to have aura. Like they turned it into some type of, oh, look at that shirt he's got on, he's got so much aura with it. Like a shirt don't give you aura. The aura is, like Gaia, it's Earth's consciousness. It's the plasma field that is around the body, right? So like they changed that up, and then even reading now, like when you say you gave somebody a reading, they changed it to make it mean like you tore them down or told them about their self or gave them a piece of their mind or put them in their place. So it's like, oh, you read them down, right? But that's not the true understanding of a reading. So they're taking everything that's of true spirituality and they're turning it into a negative by making it of some type of carnal idea.
Right. I mean, I just let them be for a little bit sometimes, because sometimes that is the gateway to kind of get into something deeper. It's like they start wondering, but what does this mean? And, one step and another step, and then they kind of get similar. And the people that are connected to them also take, tiny steps towards, because they become a huge, massive, collective by kind of engaging in that mean behavior.
Right, right. That's what I was explaining to people on YouTube, back in January and February. I was telling them like, hey, y'all got to be careful and constantly watching these negative pages, because it becomes you. It'll start seeping into your reality. Sometimes you got. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I've kind of noticed that even people on here who have like a huge following and seem to be doing quite, nicely in life, they say like, like my session is like, $3,000 a session for like, it's crazy, but I was like, wow. They seem to be doing really good. They're all smiling, but they always seem to be very irritated when you're not even particularly saying anything about change. When you just start engaging authentically, they start looking at you like this, as if I'm there to like steal their light, when I was only trying to add to the good vibes. And that's when I kind of think of the phrase, I'm not like totally biblical, you can't serve two masters. That's the phrase that comes to my mind. It's like, they may be doing spiritual work, and yes, it may be effective, but heart-wise, they're in the money chase, so they're not going to be that effective at all.
Yeah, because their master is informing them with fraudulent information. Like, so if we're looking at the entity that is actually in control of the body, in control of the vessel, because we're not looking at people. That comes with, you know, woman, man, color, race, location, all of that stuff, right? We got to look at the soul of mankind. In the soul of mankind, there's different entities that are ruling the vessel. So when you're looking at the entities that are ruling people vessel, you see who their true God is. You'll see some of the lust demons. You'll see some of the money demons. All of them are using spirituality as a way to praise their God. And everybody don't serve a righteous God or the creator God.
Right. And sometimes we do fall for the wrong things. And a lot of the times, especially these days, it's kind of like a detour to really gain the mainstream with the knowledge of what your weakness is. And
Absolutely.
yeah, but the big platformers, they're all doing everything great, but the last piece is not there, and that's why I find it a little bit demonic. It's like it's all truth and kindly, but the ultimate truth is, you know, exempt from what they're speaking out. So that's why people always reach a certain point and never higher, never wider, you know?
Because they're neglecting to branch into the other understandings of the verse. So that's why I say, like, I fell for all of them. I didn't take my Shahada, but I studied the Quran. I didn't, you know, become a follower of the Sabbath, but I studied the Torah. You know, I studied the Bible. I realized that all three of these books is a representation of the mind, body, and spirit. You know, I studied the Zachariah Stitchens. I studied, you know, I looked into these different things that journeys through the history of mankind in order to find a similarity, a connection, a level of unification, you know? And it comes with our consciousness. It don't come with a physical persona. It comes with the consciousness of this world. That's where our connection lies.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, it's subtle. It's kind of easy to miss. It's not all pizzazz and like, you know, woo-woo, some beautiful sparkles and like shapes and goddesses coming to. I mean, it may be part of it, but it's not always that. So mostly it's just placid, you know.
Well, one can fathom the, you know, it's like that first kiss. Everybody thinks that sparks are going to fly with that first kiss, you know, but sometimes it's not that, you know, but you still get enjoyment out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, more like peace, you know?
Yeah. But I think that comes with enlightenment. That's why shamans become shamans. That's why monks become monks, because they're at peace with allowing bygones to be bygones. They're at peace with allowing other people to operate their vessel how they operate their vessel. And that's not even including, like, if you go back in history, Apollonius was the first person in the 1st century that literally mastered the silence, right? And you see a lot of monks and shamans and stuff, they practice a level of silence, you know?
Allowing things to be, you know? Not complaining.
Right.
I complain a lot. Yeah. And,
I think the world is full of complaints, though. And I hate to say it, but sometimes through levels of conversations about the complaints, you can find solutions, but a lot of people focus on the problem instead of the solution.
And these days, it is the era of speaking up, you know? We gotta speak up about everything that's been hidden, what you had inside, it's all gotta come out. So it's a good time to, you know, really speak out, speak up.
Yeah, the Bible says that under the Aquarius sky, this will happen according to Ecclesiastes 12. It says all things that are done will become to the light, whether real or whether good or bad, whether true or false, all things will come to the light. It says, you know, that in this time, people will have a notion of realization within inside themselves, because this is what was planted inside of us. The kindness, the love, the goodness of our Creator. We have to remember our Creator. That's what Ecclesiastic 11 tell you. Remember your Creator, for your Creator is kind. Your Creator is loving. Your Creator is generous, right? We are not being like our Creator. We are being like His opposite.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like you can study about others, so you can branch out plenty. I mean, the benevolence doesn't only pertain to just one teaching or one book. And I think if you're honest with your emotions and if you're not hurting other people, and if you're looking for a solution, expression is just okay. But it comes a problem when you don't want to express it, and then it comes out in weird ways where you eventually hurt someone out of impulse.
Yeah, I think keeping things bottled up is what's causing what they call crash outs.
Right.
And now
right.
we have and this is another form of self-destruction, or what they call implosion. This is an implosion, like an implosion inside the vessel of feelings and emotions. So when your feelings and emotions get to a point, the implosion that happens inside the vessel, on the outside, it looks like a crash out or a lashing out, right? But on the inside, this is when one loses control of feelings and emotions, or as Solomon calls them, the 72 demons of the soul of man. We are supposed to have discipline over these 72 demons of the soul of man to rise above it.
Right. Yeah, true. But since it's like so chaotic and hard, I mean, I go through this like daily, and it's kind of getting better because the emotions, since I'm being so sincere about it, are kind of going to where they should be, and I'm kind of reaching the roots of why I even felt that way in the first place. I think we should kind of stop demonizing just basic emotions. If something really horrible comes from as you're suppressing it, then it becomes a problem. But right at the core of what happened that made you be so, the emotions are more simple, angry, sad, frustrated. Well, that's a little bit upwards, but mostly,
I think
angry, sad.
I think the problem comes with finding the real source of that, right? Because there's so many different layers of it. People are frustrated with their job, how they're getting treated at work, the amount of money that they're getting paid, their home life, bills, kids, society, social media, political, right? There's so many different layers of frustration that is placed on us. A lot of people have displacement of their feelings and emotions, don't know where to place their right feelings and emotions with the right people, right? A lot of people are taking their celebrations to people that don't want to see them celebrate.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
And, I think it kind of helps if you kind of, well, there are outer events that kind of evoke these emotions in you, but when it comes to it's about what you feel, I feel angry from seeing this atrocity happening. I feel sad because this person's treating me this way unfairly. Focus on you more, and kind of like try to really listen to yourself and not judge however irrational you feel like.
I think a lot of people,
some quiet space, and it kind of helps.
No, I get that part. I mean, I think in this world right now, a lot of people don't have no problem listening to their self. I think a lot of people have a problem with seeking understanding in other people, right? When you are branching into a collective, you want to find like-minded people that have an open understanding of this world. So when you are trying to find that collective, you find yourself giving out more of yourself than you intend to, because you're trying to be transparent so you can find that collective, or that collective can find you, right? So you find yourself, giving more of yourself to the outside world, and that's where the problem lies, because the outside world don't want to accept your inward way of thinking. The outside world wants you to be confined to how they operate on the outside, because that gives them the satisfaction of thinking that they're operating properly.
And yeah, that's true. But when it really comes to the person who can understand yourself the most really is yourself. And I'm not saying the world should stay the same, but I mean, really understand yourself more fully, get yourself more in gear, and it becomes like you become a little bit more stronger because, I mean, hey, I saw myself like that and I'm fine. I saw my anger and that's just me.
Okay, so once you find yourself, right, and you realize your soul's true purpose, which is to find other fragments of yourself that is imparted in other personas down here, right? Now you are in a mindset of gathering, because what you're trying to do is gather the other parts of yourself, of your soul, that is actually fragmented into other personas that is down here. This is coming into a collective mind. So you coming out of a personal mind where you are done healing oneself, and you're moving into a collective mind where you now have to try to be a healer of that collective, right? So you start have to think collectively. So you take the I's out of the equation, and now the I's become the we's. Now the we's is everything that you're feeling that comes with your collective. So you're going to feel the problems that your collective is going through. You're going to have the strength to realize what is of you and what is of your collective. So you have to separate yourself from the collective and say, okay, that's a personal feeling. That's a personal issue. That's not a collective issue, right? So personally, I have to deal with this, but collectively, we have to deal with that, right? You have to put things in the proper order. So when you're coming out of that personal mind, after you're done healing, after you're done with your separation, now it's the unification. Now you have to go out and find those awkward people, right, that separate themselves from society. Now you have to go find the recluse people that, because something inside of them is telling them to find you. So once you come into a collective, that collective also comes into a recognition of you. And when you find that you're a part of a collective, you can choose to turn your light on so you can be a beacon for that collective, or you can choose to stay in that self.
I mean, it comes to me anyways, and I kind of.
Oh no, not you personally. I was saying like universally. I was speaking like universally, not you personally.
Yeah. It's like proof that I'm connected anyways, even though I'm going through stuff. It's like this is your home base. You're never just one unit. You're just the whole. One part of the whole, part of the whole.
I am that I am, and that's all I am.
Yeah. And it's kind of nice because sometimes when you're in slightly lower vibrations and you go through, kind of ride the wave with other people who are going through similar stuff. And I think that way makes me feel more alive, and because I'm imperfect. It's a bit weird. It's a bit weird, but yeah.
So you saying you're imperfect is perfect because it allows you to see yourself in a true light.
Right.
So you're perfect.
It's nice to be real,
Authenticity is the best way to be, because that's when you find your true self. When you're around a collective that allows you to be your authentic self, you find yourself. You find a collective that don't mind your quirky dancing. You find a collective that don't mind your Tweedledees, because sometimes you can be off in a corner, and you'll start giggling or laughing about something. No one knows what you're laughing about. It's just something that played out in your head, and it's nice to be around people that understands that knows like, oh man, whatever it was, I bet it was funny, but don't want to know what it was. You know what I mean? I like to be around people like that. That's not, intrusive, but also understand one another. Like, oh yeah, man, I like to know what it was, but keep it to yourself because you know what I mean. Like different things like that, different levels of understanding where you approach somebody with a level of understanding where it's like, hey, no matter what language you speak, don't matter what religion you are, love is love.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, just kind of, makes you and the collective around you more allowing because, people move in rhythms, they're not all the same. We're all quirky and floopy. Even the most healed persons are just, floopy at times. They may be more like cinched up when they're at work, but,
I like being my goofy self. I man, sometimes I stand up in the kitchen and do the Carlton dance, and it's not unusual to be loved by anyone.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Not, I mean, whatever it is that because sometimes you just gotta find happiness. Sometimes you just gotta find joy. Joy is not always going to be provided to you. Happiness is not always going to be provided to you. You just gotta want to be in that state of happiness, be in that state of joy. And if you realize it, a lot of people are not in love with people. A lot of people are in love with being in love.
Yeah. That's right. That's really right. Yeah. Right. They have all these set of rules they have to keep them in that kind of feeling, and when that runs out, it's like, well, I guess it wasn't, us wasn't happening. Goodbye. And I'm like,
right.
Okay, that was only the preview of it, but
Yeah, you didn't stick around for the encore. But that's why I say a lot of people are in love with being in love. That's why it's so easy to fall out of it because they're not in love with the person. They're in love with being in love. And a lot of people fall out of love a lot faster now because our attention spans are different. So now if someone don't be the person that you want them to be within the ideal recommend time that's in your mind, right? You can fall out of love with them easily. Or if a person is trying to change you in a way that you don't want to be changed, you can also fall out of love. So there's a lot of different ways to fall out of love because really people are in love with being in love.
And if they are a little bit in a worse state, they're in love with the idea of love.
Exactly. Because they think love is going to complete them. Think about how many people out there right now looking for their other half because they think their other half is about to bring betterment to their life. And a lot of halves are not bringing betterment because they out there looking for the half that's bringing betterment to their life. So now you got two halves out there looking for betterment, finding each other, and then tearing each other down in the process of trying to find that betterment.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit. Even the word chemistry is just a little bit, infiltrated because it's more like alchemy, But people think it's like, oh, sparks are flying.
I mean, if you look down the breakdown of the word of that, the sound of chemistry sounds dangerous within itself because it sounds like it's trim his tree. When you take
something's about to blow up. Yeah.
When you take these certain words out of it, when you talk about chemistry, is actually a form of manipulation of gender reversal, right? So when you say that we have chemistry, right, it's saying that we are an experiment within itself, right? Because that's the only way chemistry exists within science, right? So when you put in science together, you are adding things to the equation to what? See the reaction. It's an experiment. So why seek chemistry? You have a bond with people, right? You have a natural chemical reaction, right? Around people, right? If you get aroused, so on and so forth, that's a chemical reaction. That has to do with your body. That don't have to do with the person. That has to do with the chemical reaction that takes place within inside your body. Any person outside of you can create a chemical reaction within inside of you. But the chemistry still takes place with oneself. It's not taking place with that other person because the chemistry that you might have for somebody might not be the same chemistry that they having for you.
Right, right. It's pretty self-serving because
Right.
it's more like what you bloom into, you know, what you alchemize yourself into when you're in a certain relationship, more than what they give something inside you that makes you feel something only on the inside, you know, regardless of what it is on the outside, just what you said.
Right. So everything is more so structured in a self-serving ideology because in a sense of this world, a lot of people persist in a love in a person that might not feel the same way. It's rare that you find people that connect mind, body, and spirit in order for a level of ascension to take place. That's a rarity. That's why people go 65 years without finding in love. You know, that's why people pass away without ascending because they are focused on a physical idea of unity outside their self.
Right, right. It's like they're drawing some blueprint with a limited mindset. So they're drawing something. They're thinking, you know, this beautiful thing will come around. They're going to make me feel like that movie I watched or anything. Imagine, can't do imagining. But when you actually get into it, it really is nothing that you thought of. It may not be all pizzazz, but it definitely is more attuned to the clarity of your energetic reality. That's the best way I can put it, you know?
Yeah, but that list start looking different when you add it to reality because you start scratching things off the list. Like, okay, they don't have to be this. They don't have to be that. They don't have to be this. I'll accept this. I'll let that go. Maybe we don't have to have kids. You know what I'm saying? Reality start making you change that list, don't it?
Making some recipe for cooking. It's
Yeah,
like,
you start look you spend enough lonely days at that kitchen table with coffee by yourself in the morning or dinner at night by yourself. That list start changing. You know what? I got a good job. They don't really have to have a good job. You know, matter of fact, they don't have to have no work ethic at all. They just gotta want to be around.
and sometimes even their, you know, supposedly bad points that people call just turn out to be just right for you for some reason. It's just weird. Not the toxic things, you know?
Yeah, but you can't say that to the person that's telling you the negative about somebody. Somebody telling you something negative, but in your mind you kind of like it. You like, hmm.
They call it a flaw, but it's honestly really not a flaw.
Right. If somebody tell me all she do is sit around and play the game all day and sit online in my mind I'm like, shit, that's kind of what I do. I kind of like doing that.
Yeah, seems like a chill person. They're just one house, not making any trouble out there, you know? They're pretty loyal to their lifestyle.
Right. Right. That's why I say, like, in this world, I think it's all about who's comfortable with you, right? If you find somebody that's comfortable with you and you're comfortable with them, I think just knowing that they're in the house gives a level of safety, comfort, you know, love, you know. Sometimes you don't even have to interact with each other in the house, but just knowing that they're in the house, it gives a level of security, you know what I mean? Two people live in the same house, they barely talk to each other, but knowing that they got that other person there that understands them, understand their separation anxiety, understand their, you know, OCDs, you know, ADDs, ADHDs, all of them shits that we got, because you know we all come with a bunch of them. Some of y'all be like, some people use other people's toothbrushes. Some people come in your house and leave your dishes in a disarray, put shit that where you don't put them at. You like, you can only deal with it so much before it become a frustration. At first you start thinking like, oh, that's cute, you know, da 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 da. But then after a while you're like, come on, hold on, come on. Like it's fucking with me now. Now, you know, you keep moving shit. You say I don't know. I don't want to say that we all outgrow each other, but I think when someone grows with you, it's beautiful. But I think growth is something that we should all continue to strive for.
right? Whether alone, whether together, whether apart, but together in spirit, whatever, it's like,
Whatever. Just keep growth going. And if
yeah,
you find somebody that can grow with you, then you found a great thing.
right. That's true. That's really true. Yeah.
Yeah, the Bible says he who finds one friend finds a great thing. I think.
Incredibly lucky. I mean, I have this constant partner. I have a partner who he's a great person, and I'm honestly really lucky. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Perfect, but it's like,
That's all you need. Sometimes all you need is that one person that understands you, and whoever else don't understand your complications. Then hey, that's not up to you to keep on trying to make people understand your. You found somebody that understands you, and that's a great thing. Grow within that. That person's willing to understand the things that you are going through, or the thing. That's an unconditional type of love.
yeah, and it's like we're kind of mostly apart because we're pretty much loners, and sometimes you got to get deeper into your stuff, and you kind of say no. Maybe for a little bit, I need to be more alone. I need to focus on my stuff, and it's just chill. None of the whole today is the day where we plant flowers and become more of something that we're kind of not normally. It's a little. I mean, it's fun, but it's a little uncomfortable.
Today is the day that we lie to each other.
I know. It's just like, where I will get mad if you don't bake me a cake. I mean, what kind of a day is that?
This world is structured in a way that's kind of like, uh, you know, repetitive in a sense. I used to see it on TV when I was a kid. I was like, every spring they play the same lineup of shows. Every fall they play the same lineup. Every winter they play the same lineup. I started thinking like, man, is these networks just putting things on repeat for a year and just walking away? Because if you look at the same movie lineup that came on back in the day, you had the same lineup: Christmas, Miracle on 34th Street, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Mariah Carey done had Christmas for 15 damn years. Her ass ain't old yet. It's been a Mariah Carey Christmas for 15 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit is repetitive. Like, they're not trying to give us nothing new. They're not trying to, give our minds that spark. And then the things that do spark our minds, even through certain variations of social media, they manipulate it to their variation of likeness. So you have to be in lust, greed, gluttony, or some lower vibrational frequency in order to make it in this world.
Right. And I think when it really comes to the people who are controlling the masses through media, I think they're the ones who are really afraid of losing control. They don't know what's ahead of it. They're the ones who are really limited, not the people just yet.
No, because see, here's the thing about the people. We're used to surviving already. We become accustomed to allowing things that are not, subject to our immediate surroundings not to bother us, right? Even if you look at the COVID thing, a lot of people wasn't bothered by it until it hit their neighborhood, until one of their loved ones, so on and so forth, right? Even when you look at this alien situation, they tell you that the aliens is in our oceans. They tell you that there's a meteor coming to us that literally looks like it's cloaked, is moving at a speed that is abnormal. It's hiding itself, reflecting the sun. It's going to hide behind the sun when it passes us in November, and it's alien, right? So they're putting levels of fear out there, but we not even worried about that shit. We just like, well, gotta go to work. We hearing it, and the energy might change for a split second, but everybody snap back to the reality that is their personal life, and they go, and you know what I mean? They can't seem to invoke the fear. I mean, it ain't, and it's in everything, in our sports teams, in everything that they're doing. They can't pump enough fear out there to change the frequency. They can't do it because the fear frequency is not working anymore. The two lower vibrational frequencies, fear and our sex, which is our sacral chakra, those two frequencies, those Lee lines that they're used to manipulating, it's not working anymore. So somebody can't manipulate you with the idea of lust anymore, not as easily as they could back then, right? Lust was, easier back then. That's why you still see the Ushers, the Ray J's, and all of those people still trying to gyrate and grind on you. You know what I'm saying? That's why Genuine's still coming out talking about riding a pony, and he's 60-something years old, knees bad as hell. You know what I'm saying? You might want to sit your ass on a donkey or something instead of trying to ride a pony. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Different shit like that. You still see them in their operation. Why Nelly's still out here? Where's the advancement? Where's the growth? You're older now. You should know how to wear a belt. You still shouldn't be sagging your pants, so on and so forth, right? These people are stuck in a certain state of mind because of the character that they presented to the world, right? So Usher always have to be Usher. Genuine always have to be genuine. It's not genuine. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But these people have created a persona for themselves, and they always have to present that persona to the world. In their personal life, they're probably not liked. They're probably assholes. People probably don't like being around them. You know what I mean? They're paying for their friends. They're paying for their entourage, so on and so forth, right?
Yeah.
This is the way of the world. Because they stepped out and presented their image like that, we now keep them in the image of that. You think Beyonce is Beyonce behind closed doors?
I have an idea that maybe she doesn't even know who she is anymore, She's been told this way and that too much, and
now
people loving then hating.
Think about that. That's the same thing with Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Same thing with Heath Ledger. They lost their self and character so much that they lost who they truly was. Heath Ledger put himself in the idea of the Joker so much that the darkness took over him.
Right. He did touch up on a really deep kind of collective consciousness that was brewing. So he did take the steam off, but it did eat him up a bit,
It didn't do what he wanted it to do. Because here's the thing about this. A lot of people have taken ayahuasca, DMT trips. They have spoke to Mother Love. They seen the rhythm of this world. They seen all the trees and everything moving in a certain sway of alignment, right? Mother Love keep asking them the same question over and over again. Why are you not telling nobody else? Why are you not telling other people about me? Why are you trying to keep me to yourself? And this is Gaia's consciousness speaking to those who because this is sometimes our nervous system is so broken down with the traumas of this world that you need some type of drug in order to let go.
Right.
This is where the DMT and ayahuasca comes in, right? So people who have done this, who have reached or gone to these places, they're not coming back and sharing it with other people or coming back with knowledge that they're using to spread the word of unity. They're using it for carnal gain. So they're going up there, Joe Rogan type experiment, going up there, getting knowledge, coming back, using it to please themselves in the carnal by coming out with this pill that's supposed to enhance your brain, but then you still dumb as hell having conversations about stuff that if it's enhancing your brain and you came out with it, why you ain't taking it? And why you ain't talking about the 88 constellations of the sky? Why you not talking about the galactic wars? Why you not talking about, our galaxy is actually moving towards another galaxy and they're about to collide with each other? And it's why nobody's talking about this stuff? If they're out there taking these pills that's supposed to enhance their mind, why the other dimensions of their mind is not woken up or put back together?
I kind of think it's more like a tolerance thing. When you're not open that much, it's just like traveling to a new country. If you don't even know where it is, what language they speak, nothing, then the experience you get out of it will be very limited. And as with every substance, the more you use it, the more it becomes effective, right? And people also consider it just a party drug. So just like you say, so they don't look deeply into the images they see. They just think, whoa, that's a cool hallucination. Oh, that was fun. Should I try it again? You know, just repeat cycle.
Because they're not using
Brain
it
starts
for
to-
enlightenment, they're using it for entertainment.
And it does take a toll on your brain chemistry and how it's structured. So if you do it like while you're too young, it can just kind of, form your brain into something that can't kind of grow anything out of instead of just
You'll get stuck in that mindset. You'll get stuck in that whatever youthful mindset. It's almost like people who become institutionalized, because they got taken away from society at a certain age. When they get back in society, their mind is still at the age that they got taken away from society. Thus far becoming institutionalized.
And you got to have a question when you're going into these altered state of mind. Sometimes not even just a physical mind of question, but there has to be some longing. So if it's just like a woohoo party thing, then you've kind of blown the chance to ask a question, like energetically. Yeah.
That's how a lot of people get locked out.
Right.
When they go up there with the carnal mindset of, self-satisfaction or whatever it is, they lose all credibility, thus far not being able to approach the throne again, however you want to look at it.
It's like they have to shift the mindset, but they don't know that it's actually a school. They think it's a party place. Yeah, they're not there to look at the cool images and just say, oh, that was fun. Forget about everything, because I don't know what it means. It's actually a school,
Yeah. And a lot of people don't like school.
Well, I mean, these days schools are just kind of a little weak, it's just not fun. They put schools in like bad places where, cars go by and you don't feel anything when you walk into school because it's highly controlled.
Well, I think now they just changed something in school. They said like people can just fill out a paper to just take kids from school now. Like, you don't have to be a parent or nothing like that. Anybody can just fill out this paper and come pick up your kid. I don't know. I got to look into that a little bit more to see what they're saying about this. But I seen it, and I was like, damn, that's crazy. But I really didn't look into it too much because I was like, good thing I'm always on. My kids graduated already, so personally, I'm not really going to see the effects of it. But if that is the case, then school's about to look, everything's about to look crazy.
Yeah.
From tariff to DC going on lockdown and the Trump taking over DC and bringing in National Guards and everything like that, the United States is looking more and more out of sync.
I think people really have to go down to the roots of America, because no matter how much they say, usually the whiter populations, they're kind of displaced. They need to go back to their roots. They need to study it. They didn't just sprout out there randomly. And the original inhabitants, the people who were there, actively making the place better. When you
say like you talking about going back to Americus before Christopher Columbus, or are you saying going back further than that when the nation was born on unity and adopting other people into it, creating that system of unity? Or when you say like, because there's a history of America that's tied to the biblical days, but it also ties to the land of Canaan and Babylon. And it says that the trick was to trick the people into thinking that they wasn't of the land.
Right.
So like the history that we know of saying that there were ships that was brought over here is not of the truth, right? And you know, the knowledge that is provided is not of the history of why America is America, or a mixing pot within itself. We used to have a level of unity that was unbeknownst to any other country, and people became afraid of it. When we started letting people in, they became afraid of it, and then they created a system to tear it down.
I would have to say the whole, the moving from the other continent to here and just taking away a lot of stuff for themselves, that was a bit forced. I mean, of course, a big land, if he came peacefully and lived in peace, nobody would say no, It was somewhat easier back then. None of these visa stuff, so. But they tried to kind of force it into, and that's when it kind of became a problem.
What is a proper indigenous timeline? Like, how long do your ancestors have to be reincarnated on a continent before you can say you are indigenous to that continent?
I would say that the original land spirits mostly pertain to, the people have been there before they started making up like these artificial wars and started seeing people as like,
Commodities.
like products and profits, which was
Right.
pretty far back then, I would say maybe before the whole colonization actually reached America. But not saying that the people who came afterwards didn't have any effect on it. But I think if you know the roots of it and if you respect it, then it's a big plot of land, it's a beautiful land. Of course they would accept you. But if you become like dominant, if you become like trying to crush other cultures and not acknowledging it, considering it woo, then likely the land is not going to accept you as much as the other cultures who want to live all in peace and harmony. Because it's Earth. It's
Right.
Earth.
Right.
Yeah.
All of it is Earth. I mean, even if you go back and go back into the hidden maps of this world and go back into Pangea and so on and so forth, there was a time where our continents was connected in such a way, but that was when we knew unity. I think if we strive towards moving back towards a level of unity, I think, our continents might actually, reverse and come back into a level of oneness, or the waters might actually, subside, and we might have an understanding of oneness, to where as though new lands might be provided to us, Right now, we really have no censorship or connection with Mother Earth. No one's outside grounding. No one's outside letting her know we're here. We're not transferring energy back with her. Women are not putting their blood back into the earth with their menstrual cycles, because back in the day, people bled straight into the ground. It went back into the earth, So I think there's a lot of things that are taking place that put us out of the operation, because even taking the blood out of the body before you put the body into the earth is a falsity. Mummification is a falsity, So I think if we was to get back to the true essence of unity, I think certain variations of us being that center between the universe and earth has to be put back. Certain variations of knowledge about the chakra systems, about, us being the, masters of the universe in the mind. It has to be given back to the people.
Right.
Because this knowledge is not ours. This knowledge, when we speak in different variations or conjure with different conversations, this knowledge is not ours. This knowledge is the universe, and it's universal knowledge. So it belongs to the people. Anybody who's trying to monetize off of it or get some type of self whatever gain out of it, the knowledge will be stripped away from them. But as long as you give it back to the people willingly, you can accept whatever the people are willing to give back to you, but you have to be always willing to give the knowledge back to the people.
Right. And, right. I totally believe in people of cultural escape different than me coming to kind of hand us a piece of our lost culture. That I'd be thrilled. It's like, thank you for bringing this back so we can study it and really flourish into our fuller beings, as long as they're not trying to do anything with it,
Right.
They can study it. They can put out papers and, be some kind of an expert, because then it grows. The understanding grows.
Right. It's like, as long as you're trying to manipulate it, then you're always going to come against problems, because if it's like a book. A book can be put out there, and it can, do a lot of numbers, world sellers, bestsellers, whatever the case may be. Or a book can be put out there and it can be forced upon you. A book that's just put out there that just becomes popular, it becomes popular because people love it, right? But a book that's forced upon you, it becomes popular because it is forced. So it becomes fear, right? If you look at a lot of these books, right, it is the fear that binds them together, because whether it be in damnation or fear of Christ, Allah, or whatever other religion that they might have, it is the fear that binds them. The jihad, the damnation, the hell, all of that stuff. That's what they bind it to, because they was in fear of it, the punishment of not being a part of it, so on and so forth. So they can't step outside of that. They're binded by that.
Mm-hmm. And if you kind of approach it as in growth, going into certain slightly lower vibrational places for you to kind of have a little cool off session and then study more so you can gain a better state of mind. It's not that scary, but people will use it against people they don't like, or they're different than, or for societal control, and that's not really positive, is it? No.
Yeah. You know how it goes in this world. Duality, right? People practice duality more than they actually reality. So people are stuck in a duality more than they are trying to seek a reality. And the duality is made on low vibrations. So when you have a duality that is made on the as above, so below, without giving a understanding of the as without, so within, you have a false reality right there, because you're giving people the alpha without the omega. Or, you're giving them the beginning without the end. However you want to look at it.
I think at the beginning and the end, it could maybe just be the same thing, and I don't think we can measure it with a human mind. Just my 2 cents.
I mean, I don't think we are in a human mind, are we? I think we're in a human experience, but our mind is in a reality of with its own. Because once you separate your 3D from the rest of it, then you realize that your mind is in a dimension and your physical is in a dimension. These are 2 different dimensional ways of being. So when you realize that your mind is in its own self-righteous place, then you realize what feeds the mind. Same thing with the spirit. Once you realize your spirit is its own place, then you apply the same thing that happens with the body. So if your body has 12 chakra systems, the mind has 12 chakra systems. If your mind has 12 chakra systems, the spirit has 12 chakra systems. Then you have to understand each chakra system of all those things, right? So you have to understand your mind chakra, then you have to understand your spirit chakras. Just like you understand your physical chakras. So I think once you start elevating, the dimensions above is so renowned that it just keeps on leading to higher variations of learning, higher variations of bettering oneself. As they say, the possibilities are endless.
Right. Yeah, I think that's so. You can't think it into being. You can't calculate it. You can't really put it into exact words. But if you kind of let the space inside you, bring it down and let it forth, poetically speaking, then you will know. Yeah, understand. Right, understand.
So basically be go with the flow.
Right.
Like Bruce Lee said, be water. Water can flow or water can crash. Be water.
He's a curious person. He's a very curious person.
Hey, I like studying people like that. Aristotle, Socrates, all types of people like that. I study Plato's, different things like that because I think those people view this world in a way that was so magnificent that even what they produced in the physical became etched in our society. You know what I mean? So like you have to think the mind of someone who can generate that amount of energy that brings forth a physical expression of that is etched in the history of mankind. That's a great mind.
Yes. Like there's something you just can't, it just doesn't fall back anymore. It's always going to be there. It's been done. It's there forever.
Yeah. That's why I study. That's why I study some of those because the greatness of what they have inspired. Socrates said, "The secret of change is giving all focus to the you that you want to be, and none to the you that you was." That is. Listen, when you give all focus to the you that you want to be, and not the you that you was, you truly inspire change.
Right. Oh.
He didn't say the secret to change is to fake it till you make it. He ain't say that. You know what I mean?
It's just like, and I think there's already some kind of a blueprint already, and that kind of pulls you into the image that comes to you. So you're not making up some imagining, okay, I'm going to be popular, I'm going to be something awesome. It will happen to you because you are,
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Right.
I mean, that's why I say, like, that's why I say, the way of this world is very, very, different now because the perception of the people is different.
Right. Yeah. Perception, eh? It's more like.
You want to say it's perception?
Yeah, more like, I don't know, just widening the scope. Because perception can be skewed too. Sorry for the sound. I was just opening the windows. It's like really cool right now.
Yeah, you're right. Perception is based. That's based on the eye of the beholder, right?
Right.
I mean, one can perceive this world to be ending and cause an ending for themselves. One can one can perceive this world to be in destruction, and destruction they shall see.
Right. But sometimes it does start with perception, You've always been thinking a certain way, and then you perceive something, like out the corner of your consciousness, and that's when it kind of starts, Then you start making, at first you're making your perception, or you think you're making your perception, but then it kind of widens, and it becomes the barrier between what you think out and what is or what will become kind of becomes a little bit borderless. Ooh. Yeah. Thanks for the follow.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, when you look at it, it's almost based off of one's persona. So if one perceives, then so shall it be.
Right.
For reality is nothing but a creation of our habits. So whatever your habits of, your reality is that. We create our habits and our habits create our reality. If you change your habits, your reality change.
That's sweet.
Yeah, because look,
Sometimes habits do come to tell you something, you know, there's a
I
reason
know, but look,
behind it.
think about it like this. If one has the habit of drinking, one will always go towards what? A liquor store. You'll base your whole, moving off of where a liquor store is at, right? You can't go, too far from the city because that's too far away from the liquor store. You can't go to renowned areas. Why? Because they close down. You can't drink at certain times, or they don't sell stuff at certain times, whatever the case may be. So whatever your habits are, you are going to put yourself in an environment that actually, contributes to your habits. If one has the habit of going to the strip club, they're gonna put themselves around some strip clubs.
Yeah. Well, I never really thought of that because I thought they would, you know, go out of town or something, you know, go to some secret place that they could go to because they're ashamed of their habits.
Hell no, because the reality shows you that more people enjoy your habits too. I mean, look at the whole Diddy situation. They not looking at the freak offs as something wrong. You know, they said that's okay to have freak offs. Everybody's doing it. So they not looking at the freak offs as wrong. So apparently, the partying and the freak offs is not wrong.
At least in that area where he did it.
I mean, at least to that group of people that was going.
Yeah.
Because it
You're
didn't
right.
matter what area it was in, the people was willing to go. I mean, you go back to the 90s, they had the 69 boys, cotton candy, sweet and gold. It ain't the butterfly, it's the Tootsie Roll. We always had this in society. People been freaking since the 80s, since, far back than that. You go back to Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great said he went on an exploratory excursion, and when he came back to England, everybody was freaking. At one point, that was the operation of currency. Like, hey, can you give me a ride to the store? And you get some guap guap or some, tutu. That was the way of paying people back in the day before they came up with money and coin and so on and so forth. Go look it up. The history of this, the history of this world is messed up. Yeah, the history of this world. What the one thing that's been selling since the beginning of the time is what?
Prostitution.
Mm-hmm. It's been around since the biblical days. The Bible tells you about the Jezebel. Jezebel was a person before it became a name of her prerogative. Jezebel was actually a person. Jezebel tricked the next door neighbor and lied on the next door neighbor and said that the next door neighbor did some stuff, and she came with two false witnesses, all because her husband kept on trying to buy the neighbor's land and the neighbor wouldn't sell it, and the husband kept complaining to her, and she was like, don't worry about it, I'll take care of it. And then she tricked the guy, and then she and then guess what, the dogs and stuff dragged her in the streets, and the only thing that was left was her hands and her feet, and that was the first Jezebel. And ever since then, everybody says if it's a prostitute, she has that Jezebel energy. She has that Jezebel spirit because that was the first Jezebel.
Yeah, I've heard of Jezebel spirit, you know. Yeah,
That was the story.
When you're kind of in a narcissistic place, no matter how much you try to find a nice spouse or partner, you're always gonna turn into either doormats or Jezebels who completely destruct your world from the inside out. Something I've heard from, I think it was some kind of a spiritual form or
Well,
something.
then you have the incubus and the succubus, but that's a whole different, that's in a dream state when you see an incubus and a succubus. But I guess in the physical world, you will see the incubus and the succubus come in the form of a Jezebel.
Funny you mentioned that because like early on in my TikTok journey, which was last year about like November, and around December I used to go to like many people's lives, and yes, I did encounter a few incubi or succubi when I was like just trying to fall asleep, and I just got up and just kind of said shoot, and they went away. And like most of them, they don't like turn into people you don't know. They turn into people you kind of know, that you kind of feel like you're interested in, not even like hugely, and that's the real shocker. It's like, wow, they're fast. they're really fast. They don't want to miss a chance when they say an opening of chance when, you know, when it's just
Oh no, that's why they were released upon the dream state. That's why they were released upon the dream world, is because they are in every, if ever you are building up that hormonal energy, they are to come and uh, steal it, you know, and it comes in the form of release of sacral energy. So it comes in a form of either orgasm or the releasing of semen. So that's the form of what it comes in the physical. But in the dream state, what they're doing is they're getting you to spill your seed, your essence, right? And the Bible tells you that no food should be spilled upon the floor for the dogs or whatever. And it also says that, a man should not secrete his semen in the belly. A man should, it's better to secrete your semen in the belly of a whore than secrete it upon the floor. Now, this is in the Bible, so you can go back and read it. I'm not making this up. It tells you about certain things that comes with the essence of, which is our hormonal energy. And women have hormonal energy. I just haven't read the book on how their actual hormonal energy works inside their body. The Bible is written for a man to understand the energy that is going from his testicles up his spinal cord to his brain, how a man vessel works, and the secret of the man's vessel, right? That's why it says a woman should not preach it, because it wasn't for a woman's vessel. I'm not sure. I think you're, more so connected to the earth or whatever it is that was on the seventh dimension. But on the third dimension, which is man, this is telling you how the body of man works with the essential oils or the secrets of ointments. This is why Christ, represented as the seed, he said, "Why has thou forsaken me?" Right? And when he put this seed inside the tomb or the womb, it was two women who were there to see him, which was two Marys, right? That is the Mary and the Mary of this all, right? Because it was in the womb of a woman that man had placed his seed, right? So it is telling you the story of when the seed of man left his father body and went into the seed of, or went into the vessel of a woman, or what is represented as the womb, the manger, the Bethlehem, which is considered to be the house of bread, right? And then it's telling you what took place, right? This is considered our first unaliving. When we leave our father's vessel and enter our mother's vessel, that is the first unaliving. He who rises above that, he who rises above the carnal idea of this world, will not experience a second unaliving, which is the physical unaliving. Our first unaliving came when we left our father and entered our mother, right? A lot of people don't remember this story. A lot of people don't remember this because, even Terrence Howard can say, "I remember a time when I was in my mom's womb," right? But he ain't telling you about a time when he was in his dad's sack.
Yeah, that's really accurate,
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
the Bible and these books was written about the essence of the seed inside the vessel of mankind. So a man was telling about how this seed was moving through his body and conquering different chakras of the body. This is why Christ is considered the 13 that put the 12 together, right? So Christ is considered the 13 that put the 12 together, right? And that's why he was telling a story about the Christ in him, right? So he told a story about how this Christ conquered the things inside of him, and then when he passed this seed, this is where the Father, "Why have thou forsaken me?" It was when he exited his father and into the womb of his mother, and where he grew after 3 days. And ironically, if you go to a gynecologist will tell you that a man's sperm stays inside a woman for up to 3 days.
Right. That's right. You're so right.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, and how long did he stay? He stayed for 3 days and then he rose again. Inside of woman, when you stay for 3 days, what happened? Rises again. That's why it's the day after pill, because if you let a seed stay for 3 days, it might rise again. And what happens? The first thing that starts changing inside a woman is the mind. The first thing changed is the mind. Then what changes? The breast starts getting bigger and hot and whatever. You know what happens to a woman body. I ain't got to explain it, but it's you get what I'm saying though?
Yeah.
So
I feel like they have flu and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, so it's like they wrote this book, and it was telling you about the seed and the creation of the seed and how we pass it to and the Muslims say it the same way too. They just change it from a womb to a cave, but it's the same place, that Christ was in, the manger, right? It is represented as the bread basket. This is why a woman is considered to be, it says a a bun in the oven, right? Because it's the bread basket. This is why when a football player passes the ball, or they say put it in his bread basket, make sure you cuff the ball in your bread basket, right? This is why this is why a baker gives you a 13 as a mystery dozen, because that is the essence of Christ, representing 13 and being the one that put together the 12. The 12 is the dozen, but Christ is the 13 that put together the 12. So a baker gives you a mystery 13 as a dozen. This is why anybody who worship the lower vibration or a part of one of these secret societies, this is why they take out the 13. This is why they took it out of the calendar, and we changed from to a Gregorian calendar, right? This is why they changed up the Dewey Decimal System that we used to go by, which was based off a count of 60 instead of 100. This is why they changed this is why they don't have a 13th floor in some hotels, right? This is why they took out the 13th zodiac, right? The 13th zodiac is it sits at the foot of Hercules. Hercules is considered to be a demigod. The demigod is considered to be a person who realized the God essence which inside themselves, which also turned out to be the son of Zeus, so on and so forth. So these stories just keep on repeating over and over again, because it's telling you how the seed of man conquers the vessel of mankind into becoming greater within inside of oneself. All the stories are saying the same thing.
Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense about how the cross is shaped, and also how most churches are shaped.
Well, yeah, because you have to bear your cross, but that comes with trials and tribulations. But if you actually read the Bible, it says that Christ was actually hung from a tree.
Hung from a tree. See, that's what I'm talking about.
In John, in the book of John, it says that. Is it John or yeah? In the New Testament, it says that. It says the actual Christ was hung from a tree. I was shocked when I read it. I was like, what the fuck? So what is this whole crucifixion thing? That, if you go back to the 1st century, then that goes back to a falsity of what the pagans believed. So one person who was from the school of Christ decided that they were going to appease the pagan worshipers and present themselves as a sacrifice. So they presented themselves as a public martyrdom sacrifice, which they wasn't unalive. They was just unconscious for 3 days. Upon they were taken down while they were unconscious, and it looked like it was an unaliving process, but it wasn't. It was they were unconscious, and then they came back to.
Yeah, transformation.
Yeah, so they showed a public example of that, and said that that was being like brought back from the dead. Like back in that time, they didn't know what was an unconscious mind or someone being unconscious. They just looked at it as they dead, they done. You know what I mean? So when somebody was unconscious back then, they thought they was done.
Yeah.
You know, and
yeah. put him underground.
Yeah, so can you imagine back then seeing somebody wake up from a 3-day unconscious? You'd be like, yo, nah, I seen you laying there you was done for 3 days. Nah, you,
Yeah, and sometimes when you're in those exalted states, sometimes you do kind of check out for a little bit and then come to. So.
Yeah, now we have a level of knowledge that teaches what unconscious is, but back then, shit, if I'd have seen that back then, you wouldn't be allowed with the. I'd have one got a restraining order on your ass. I seen you come back from the dead.
All the other people watching that happen would be going to the place where he was just before, and then come to a little bit earlier because they're healthy.
You'd be like, they're trying to figure out what he did, huh? What you do?
Maybe. It's like the spirit just says, this is the chance. They're pretty shocked. They're not going to question. They're just going to get the answer if I send them to that place briefly. It's funny. Yeah, it's funny.
I can only imagine. But that's why I say, like, you have to be able to put yourself in a mind of that time in order to really get the proper understanding of it. You can't have a mind of this time and then try to say that you understand the book, right? Because back then when it says Jesus turned water into wine, shit, a grapevine, a winery turning water into wine right now, can we call them Jesus? Because all you got to do is go step on some grapes and add some water, and voila magic, you got wine. And I walked on water at the same time. So should I consider myself to be Christ if I go step on grapes and turn water into wine?
Good point, technology-wise.
Right. Back in the day, you would say Jesus walked on water because he was stepping on grapes, turning them into wine. You would say all of that, right? If this is the first creation of wine, right? And he put this shit in a bucket, and you seen him put water in there, and you see him put grapes in there, right? And you seen him just wash his feet, jump in that motherfucker, and get the smushing and stepping on shit, right? And then he say, let's wait 30 days. 30 days happen, and he give your ass a drink of this, and you think that he gave you the spirit or something. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's like, whoa, what is this?
Right. So you like, nah, he turned water into wine and put a spirit in me. Why do you think wine?
They don't drink spirit,
Exactly. So you got to think about that. They say Christ is the spirit. If you actually look him up in Egyptian mythology or Greek mythology, he's known as Diana something, creator of alcohol. And he was punished to stay down here because he created this substance and, stop people. It creates a fast vibration, but it also drops the spirit in the body and allows these lower vibrational entities to take over the vessel. That's why when people black out, they don't have no notion of it, but their body still did a bunch of shit while they was blacked out.
Right. It's like a wild card. It's like some kind of a dice game,
Yeah.
You be in control.
You have to have a certain level of control over it, because to drink too much wine is considered to be a bad thing. But when you're using wine to put your body in a certain fast frequency, and they do that in our kids right now. You don't know why your kids is experiencing anger and stuff like that. It's because their body is making hooch. If you don't know that your kid's body is making hooch. But let me explain something to you. When you give your kids cornflakes and you give your kids fruit and stuff like that, the fruit and the cornflakes with the sugar added to it creates a fermentation inside their stomach that creates hooch. That's why the Bible tell you not to eat unleavened bread past a certain time, because when you eat unleavened bread and you sitting in the sun eating fruits and stuff like that, the sun is turning your body into a barrel, and it's turning that bread and that fruit in your stomach into hooch. That's why once it's past a certain time of the year, you're not supposed to eat unleavened bread. You're not supposed to eat that bread, because that bread is fermenting inside your stomach with the sugar and the fruit, and it's creating a barrel of hooch. So unknowingly, we are getting intoxicated with inside of our own vessel by the chemicals that our stomach is creating. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense because sometimes when you kind of get a stomach ache, you kind of get this like, kind of like this burp with a it's like tang to it, like soda,
Yeah.
and you can tell something was just kind of brewing in there.
Right. And that's like the same thing that happens when you are making hooch. You got to burp it. You got to burp it because it's creating a gas, and that gas needs to be burped. You're creating that hooch. That's why after 30 days, 28 days, it's creating that. They know that. That's why they're taking it. That's why they're taking it a step further and stopping people from buying sugar products with EBT now. You can't buy sugar products. That it's forcing you to eat healthy now because they know that they put us in a false operation. So they have to try to fix that operation without letting us know that they were the people that put us in this operation. So the same people that caused the problem is the same people that's trying to fix the problem without telling us that they were the one that caused the problem.
Yeah. They're like, oh shit, we've done something wrong. We gotta fix it up before they notice.
Yeah, so now they're trying to get us to put our bodies in proper operation,
And saying that, oh, it's us. We did the good jobs.
Yeah. We fixed it. We stopped giving y'all glucose energy and started giving y'all fructose energy, and we fixed it. Terrible.
Yeah.
The heroes, they playing the heroes and the villains on us.
Yeah. It's really, their tactic is boring, but yeah.
It's fun though.
It is. It's like you see them kind of run around all sweaty and like, oh, are they gonna notice? It's just, yes, we do. We already noticed ages before, but thanks for the effort, somewhat.
Right. I mean, it's not like we really cared about what operation they tried to put people in. A lot of mental masters realize that your vessel will endure a magnitude of strenuous activities. So your mind, body, and spirit, you have to put the body in some form of an operation because you are creating energy within inside yourself, and whenever you are creating energy, that energy has to put you in operation of something. No one's just filling up the gas tank to go nowhere. So when you are creating energy inside your vessel, you're creating it to put yourself in motion to do something. This is where, passion comes in. This is where your drive comes from. This is where your will comes in at, right? So a lot of people are creating lustful energy in their vessel, and then they're wondering why they're going out doing lustful things. A lot of people are creating greed energy within their vessel, and then they wondering why they're going out there being greedy.
That's good advice. Yeah.
I try
and certain foods kind of are for certain purposes. If you're lacking certain energies, then you put in food that kind of aids making it.
Right.
But the people who only eat one stuff, they're gonna be stuck in some energetic rut pretty soon because they don't have fuel for other vehicles of mind.
Well, that's because a lot of people don't want to go through the transformation of putting their self in a different operation. That comes with a level of willpower within itself to say that I no longer want to operate on meats and high, low vibrational meals. I want to because you already told yourself that your body needs this. Like it takes a breakdown of how your body operates, right? So I'll explain it to you like this. Once you are used to putting a certain amount of meats and bread or whatever into your stomach says, okay, I need to create this amount of acid in order to take on this amount of food, right? So what you would have to do is you would have to lower your portions and at the same time start eliminating certain food varieties, right? So you start with pork, you come down to chicken, you go to turkey, you go to fish, then you go vegan, right? is it creates a system within inside your body that allows your body to adapt to your diet. A lot of people think that they can just start a diet. You can't. Your body is a machine. It's used to operating a certain way. You have to break down things. You have to stop eating bread, then stop eating pasta, then stop eating this, stop drinking sodas. You have to break yourself down like that because your body gets used to the chemicals that is provided by these different substances or meals, right? So even if like your body is used to not creating a certain thing for the brain, you want to add certain things that helps your nervous system get back into place, put better, start incorporating. And this might have to come with microdosing for some people because your trials and tribulations is so high, or you've been through so much that you might have to start microdosing in order to put your nervous system back together. But you cannot, I do not advise anyone to just try to start a diet of this magnitude just cold turkey, because your stomach is going to create the acid, and that acid is going to eat its way out of your stomach. So if you're going to break down your diet to take on fruits and vegetables, you have to wing it off of the things that it's on. Think of it like a drug. So you have to wing your body off of these things. Slowly stop eating meat. Slowly stop eating pasta. Slowly. And then within like a good 9-month period, you can say like, boom, all right. But don't do it just cold turkey. Your body is going to resist it. You're going to start going through certain things, and it's not going to be, you're going to be mad. You're going to be mad, and then you're going to be telling, and your body keep telling yourself that you need the meats and stuff anyway. Yes, you need it because you already started eating it. You already, you know what I mean? So if you're going to put your body in proper operation, you can't just cut it off cold turkey like that. Bring yourself down to like, eating meats once a week, or, eating some type of protein once a week until you get, back to realizing that the protein that the animals is coming from the vegetation, because a cow eats grass, and that's where a cow gets protein from. So if we stop eating the cow and just eat the damn grass, then never mind. Do you get what I'm saying? We're taking on animal protein. Our body already produces protein through fruits and the sun, but we take on animal protein.
Right. Like I try to take a bit of animal protein for necessity because it's just our body functions,
No, our body is used to it. We've been created like this. It's not, listen, when I say put yourself back into a proper operation of the vessel, it's not saying that you can change how you are operating, but it will change the next generation's operation. So when we condition our body to have discipline, and we condition our body to overcome different variations of eating habits in order to create the proper seed to pass on for the next generation. Now, if you're not in the notion of passing on a seed, shit, enjoy this world. You know what I mean? But if your body is in the operation of bringing life into this world, or passing on a seed, then these are the things that you should operate in order to pass on a righteous seed, in order to carry a righteous seed.
Right. Oh, thanks for the rose.
If you don't plan on carrying a righteous seed, if you don't give a fuck about bringing life into this world, then shit, eat whatever, do whatever. You know what I mean? For real.
Yeah.
Because it's not really about us. It's about the future generations. We already here. We already got our vessel. We already, all we can do is try to, tame or control different variations of entities that was placed inside of our vessels during the time of placement.
Right.
That's why that's why they had to change it from anger management to managing anger. Because you realize that it's always there. It's like hormones. Hormonal energy is always there. It's the creative essence of life. So you have to, use that in a different way as opposed to using it for, that sexual urge or sexual desires. A lot of people want you to use your hormonal energy for sexual desires, but really,
Yeah.
there's a greater essence that comes with that, that comes with that seed. That seed is not just, something that brings life into the world. It creates and carries, different fluids to your brain, you know.
Right.
Just like the vagina is not just to produce life, it actually connects to your brain, different variations of it. This is why certain women yearn for the seed, because it has to take in. That thing eat meat, it's a meat eater. It's too far off the ground to eat hay, you know what I'm saying? That thing don't eat hay. That thing is a
Yeah.
meat. Never mind.
Yeah. Makes no sense.
Yeah. Stop talking about the vajayjay. You can't. Nah, I'm joking. Don't tell me about the power of the. Nah.
Be awkward, and if I was too enthusiastic, then I'd also be a little bit weird.
That's what I'm saying. We're gonna leave it alone. But yeah, make sure y'all go to Energy of Atlas page. We're gonna be playing the game over there shortly, because that's what we do. We do the knowledge in the daytime and the gaming after that. As long as we get some learning and studying out the way, I feel comfortable with being relaxed. And like I said, the universe gives us the knowledge freely so we can give it back to the people freely. If you do want to donate, the ways that you can donate. We are on 2 platforms right now, YouTube and TikTok. But if you do want to contribute, if you do like the things that are being talked about, like I said, it's bigger than me, it's bigger than you, but we gotta want to build a network of unity, like-minded people who's willing to sit down and have the conversations without no feelings and emotions involved. Don't bring your feelings and emotions to this table. It ain't the table for it. There's a bunch of other tables out there with feelings and emotions on there, and they all talking to each other nice, but doing secret shit behind each other back. I'd rather have a table of truth, and that's it. Like, you ain't gotta like me or none of that, but the knowledge gotta be put back into this verse. And shout out to everybody that has donated, has contribute to it. I know through YouTube, I know a lot of y'all stop believing in this. I know a lot of y'all stop supporting this, and that's okay. I'm not upset with the level of support that's lost over the false allegations that's being put out there on YouTube, trying to say that I was grifting or trying to use that dude's farm. But the truth is going to come out about that, and you guys are going to be shocked. And also, for the people who still, riding with, hey, man, shout out to y'all. Y'all the reasons why I keep this going. Y'all the reasons why I continue to go live. I started to just stop dealing with YouTube altogether. I'm not going to lie to y'all. Earlier today, I was telling myself, you know what, F it. I'm not even about to go live on YouTube no more. But I thought about it, and I was like, that'd be a slap in the face to the collective that we did build, and for the people that's here for the right reasons. I know a lot of y'all on YouTube are just trying to see how I'm getting these numbers, what am I doing to gain support, so on and so forth, so y'all can try to find a way to utilize that, or, without supporting me, you guys are secretly stealing my intellectual properties, and that's okay.
Who's doing that? Who's doing that?
No, that's happening on YouTube.
All right. YouTube is a bit chaotic, right? Hard to track.
Yeah, but that's why I say I started to just go live on my 2 TikTok pages, or just continue to go live on my 3 TikTok pages, and just say, let that be that. But I decided, hey, listen, it's still a collective to be found over there, and so on and so forth. And there's people who actually tune in for the knowledge and wisdom and understanding. So I'm just going to continue on this path, and the right people will find me. And that's what I look forward to. I look forward to the day that the right people actually see me for the knowledge and the wisdom that I'm trying to put back into this verse. Don't look at my person. My person might come with many flaws, because I too have a human experience. But look at the knowledge that I'm putting back into this world. And that's what I want to be seen for.
Right. Right. And is there another account of you in the bios or something?
Yeah, there's a Discord in the bio on this account, but if you type in Energy of Atlas, that's my other account that I play the game on and hold lives on periodically. Uh, so it's Energy of Atlas, and it's this page, Energy Atlas. But the Energy of Atlas has the link tree to all my other accounts on it.
Oh, okay.
This one I didn't put that on this account because this account I mainly use to just talk about spiritual stuff and the essence of oneness and so on and so forth. But the other account I game on, I talk about current events, so on and so forth. And this is just a way that I choose to separate my spiritual from my carnal. So on one page I operate in the carnal mind, playing the video games, talking my BS, but still trying to drop a jewel here and there. And then on this page, I try to operate in the spiritual self and just speak about high elevational things and growth and development. I know we're multi-dimensional beings sharing a human experience. I just choose to do mine's VI social media.
Right.
We're all in this together.
Yeah, we really are. It's nice. A bit terrifying, but it's so nice.
It is. It's only scary because someone told us that we have to look out for other people and worry about how other people are. But the real person that should be in shame is the person that want to do other people wrong. We shouldn't keep making people that want to do right in this world feel bad about doing what's right. We should make people that feel wrong feel bad about doing what's wrong.
Yeah, all the time.
We attacking the people that's trying to unify. We attacking the people that's actually going out in the physical world and trying to help people in need of help. And then when we run across people that, are using people like us, they shame us instead of saying, that was wrong for that person to use you like that.
Right.
But it's okay though. But yeah, YouTube, love is love, namaste, ashe, salutations. Remember, one's image of oneself should be greater than reality. If nobody told you that they love you today, let me be the first and not the last to tell you that I love you. And we're going to continue this journey on TikTok, on YouTube. And like I said, I don't have no malice towards how people paint us out to be. That's up to them to perceive their reality how they want. If they want to see me as a bad light in their reality, then hey, allow that bad light to be seen from their perspective of how they want to see it. We're going to continue moving forward with peace, love, unity. If you guys don't like the fact that we like other races, if you guys don't like the fact that we want to, communicate and join in a unified way with other people, then that's fine. You have the right to feel that way. If you feel like I should just deal with black people, then that's fine. You have the right to think that. But I'm going to continue being open-minded and deal with energies instead of dealing with people. I want myself and I want my collective to be around like-minded energies, not people that's looking at me because of the color of my skin, not people who appreciate me because of the color of my skin. I want people to appreciate me for the knowledge and wisdom that I bring to the table. And I'm going to keep fighting for that. I'm going to keep fighting to be seen for knowledge and wisdom and not just being seen for some ideal image that this world wants to put on me.
Yeah.
But great things is happening. Great things is happening YouTube for the people that's still supporting. I appreciate you. For the people that still donate, I greatly appreciate you. And even the people that decided that this wasn't for them and walked away, I appreciate you too, because you're no longer wasting your time pretending like this is something that you want, right? So for the people who came into this with hidden agendas, false pretenses, whatever the case may be, I also appreciate you because, you didn't, drag me out any longer. you came to the realization that I'm not the person that you want to follow, and you stopped following me. You came to the realization that I'm not the person that you want to support, and you stopped supporting me. So I appreciate you greatly, because this leaves room for the people who actually do want unity, love, truth, and light. So I appreciate you guys for stepping out the way.
Yeah. And I bet they picked out a few, good pieces they could add to their life journey, And so you never know where it's going to lead. They might find someone else that's kind of giving them more pieces to kind of, add to it. And then, voila, maybe after a while they'd be a different person bit by bit.
Yeah, that's all you gotta tell yourself. I'm here for a short time, not a long time. I never had a good time in a long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just gotta realize that we I'm not here to stay in people's lives. I know that. Once whatever it is that the universe brought us together for, once you feel like you have that, I know you're gonna depart. Everyone always depart, because that's the way of this world. Once you feel like someone brings you something and you got everything that you're gonna get from that person, you move on. That's the way they created people in this world. I see a lot of people just using people. If you're not beneficial to them, they don't need you. If you're not bringing nothing to them, they don't want you. There's a lot of people operating like that. I respect that people are people, and they're going to operate according to how they operate. And I love the fact that we all are in different operations. I don't want us all in the same operations. I like the fact that some people don't like me and some people like me. I like the fact that I got a few friends and not a bunch of friends,
Yeah. Similar to me,
And I like my alone time. I could just be sitting somewhere doing nothing. I like it. I like sitting in my mind. I like playing Dungeons and Dragons and shit. I'm never gonna stop playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, that's a good game. I've never played it, but it's really creative, isn't it? It's like you can make up your whole character and how they act. It's not set in stone.
Whole character, abilities and everything. Shit.
Yeah.
What? Don't tell me. I've been an elf plenty of times. Half elf, half human, full elf.
Is it? Do you have a crowd of people who play D&D with you, or is it like an internet operated game?
We used to have a crowd. Now, since everything went to like the internet, everybody just played different video games that, relate to Dungeons and Dragons, Diablo, World of Warcraft, so on and so forth. So a lot of people just ventured into games like that. Daybreak Legends, phone games, stuff like that. But the gaming community that I used to be a part of before I started trying to build my spiritual / understanding community, we played all types of mobile games. We played mobile games. We played, Xbox, PlayStation, PC. Really, we just was, but that's just to build one sense of community. I think it was more so just about being a part of something that was more intriguing than anything, was the fact that we was a part of something. I think a lot of people, even with Comic-Con and all this other stuff, is more so about feeling like you're a part of something bigger than you.
Right.
And that's a great feeling.
It is. It's like a bunch of people doing something that you do in your daily life. It's like, wow, it feels like there's bits of me in all these people.
Right, that part.
Yeah.
It's a sense of belonging.